Chapter 1. If you were to dream of a very cute girl, would you kiss her first before talking? Well, Naruto did that, but later found out, would Leaf Ninja Village Ninja School. Iruka. Tomorrow is the graduation exam. Does anyone have any questions? The students began to open their textbooks, looking for questions they didn't know, planning to sharpen their guns at the last minute. At this time, only one person was in a daze. Vortex Naruto. Am I dreaming? This seems to be the Naruto ninja scene, right? Naruto whispered in a low voice. Then he looked around. That's Iruka, Hinata, Sasuke, Sakura, and, while Naruto was still whispering, Iruka on the podium suddenly shouted, Naruto! Naruto! Is he calling me? What's the matter? Naruto stood up uncertainly. Iruka raised his eyebrows. Naruto, tomorrow is the graduation exam. Is there anything you don't know? Tomorrow is the graduation exam? Naruto blinked and asked foolishly, What? Iruka, sensei couldn't help but shout. Naruto, you've already failed twice. Do you want to repeat another year? The classroom suddenly became silent. Then there was a harsh mocking laughter. Naruto looked around. Everyone was laughing at him, even in a dream. It was shameful. Just as Naruto was about to get angry, he suddenly found that one person wasn't laughing at him. That person was looking at him with a face full of worry. Hinata. The moment the two looked at each other, Hinata's face turned red. Then she immediately lowered her head. Kawaii. Naruto walked down from his seat, ignoring Iruka's howl, as well as everyone's surprised eyes, and went straight to Hinata. Since it was a dream, and he was Naruto in the dream, he had a bold idea. Naruto's first kiss was given to Sasuke in Naruto's Naruto, so it's up to him to correct this mistake in his dream. Naruto. Nah. Hinata. Hinata raised her head in confusion. Naruto-kun? Naruto. I like you the most. Like you the most. Like you the most. Like you the most. Hinata's eyes. She stared at Naruto. Her face was full of disbelief. At this moment, Hinata felt her mind went blank. At the same time, the entire classroom suddenly became so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Naruto actually confessed to Hinata in class? However, this was not the end. That bold Naruto actually raised Hinata's chin with his hand, and then kissed her. Iruka finally came back to his senses and shouted, Shut up! The other students were collectively petrified. This kind of daring thing shocked everyone's young hearts. For a moment, there were people who were envious, people who looked up to him, and people who were unwilling to accept this. Hinata stared at Naruto, who was so close to her. After a while, she came back to her senses and subconsciously pushed Naruto away. She was speechless for a long time. Her face was as red as a peach. She was even cuter. Naruto repeated, Hinata, I like you. Iruka finally rushed over, pulled Naruto's ear and shouted, Don't do this kind of thing in my class. Naruto, pain. 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 Wasn't this dream a little too realistic? He could even feel pain? Iruka roared in Naruto's ear. Get out! Come to my office after class. Iruka pulled Naruto's ear and carried Naruto, who was screaming in pain, to the door. In the end, he added a kick, which almost made Naruto fall flat on his face. Iruka. Reflect on yourself outside. Then with a bang sound, the door was slammed shut. Reflect on myself? Do I have to listen to you? In my dream, can I be bullied by you? Then he made a face at the door and ran out happily. Is this the ninja school? So small. He was used to seeing skyscrapers with dozens of floors. The houses in this world couldn't compare at all. But it also has a special charm. With that said, Naruto hopped around and looked around. But the more he walked, the more he felt that something was wrong. If this was a dream, why was the scenery in front of him so real? After escaping from the ninja school, Naruto stood on the street with few pedestrians and was stunned. Many people looked at him with disgust after seeing him. The people who met him on the street even walked around him like he was the plague. Everyone's expression, every building's uniqueness, and the aroma coming from every store and restaurant. And his stomach growled when he smelled the aroma. Was this really a dream? On the street, Naruto's expression became flustered. His head quickly looked around, trying to find something out of place that could tell that this was a dream. Nothing. There was only strangeness and the beauty of a foreign culture brought by the unique architectural aura. Naruto raised his hand and bit his finger. Pain. He pinched his face again. Real. It was too real. Naruto raised his head and looked at the clear blue sky. Stormy waves were set off in his heart. I can't be. I really came to the Naruto ninja world. This. Naruto didn't come out for a long time. He swallowed his saliva and scolded with a smile. This is King incredible. Wait. If this is real, then there should be chakra in my body, right? Naruto closed his eyes. He felt that there was indeed an energy in his body that he had never seen before. But if he really came to this world, then what happened to the him who lived in the original world? Did he still exist or did he suddenly die inexplicably? Naruto. Stop for me. Iruka's voice sounded from behind. Naruto suddenly turned around and suddenly woke up. If this was the real world, then he kissed Hinata. He said that he liked Hinata. He even escaped from the ninja school. Well, the latter was not important. What was important was that he kissed Hinata. It was really King exciting. Naruto's brain crashed. Iruka caught up with Naruto. Naruto, I told you to stand in the corridor and reflect on yourself. How dare you run out? Say, what are you doing? What should I do? I heard wrong. I heard you tell me to go home and wait. This was really a clumsy excuse. Iruka snorted, go back with me. I'll deal with you when we get back. Chapter 2. Back at the ninja school, the class was still going on. In order to prevent Naruto from running away again, Iruka made Naruto stand inside the classroom, close to the door. Iruka. Let's continue. Is there anyone else who doesn't understand? Naruto stood at the door and looked down. Hinata's book was standing upright, and her small head was hidden behind the book. Don't tell me Hinata hates me. If that's the case, it's not worth it. Iruka. Naruto. Is there anything you don't understand? Is she asking me? Yes. Because I don't know anything. Wait, tomorrow is the ninja graduation exam. I won't really repeat a year, right? Can I still catch up with this batch of teams? While Naruto was anxious, the scenery in front of him suddenly blurred, followed by severe pain. Then he didn't know anything. Everyone saw Naruto raise his head and was about to speak, then suddenly covered his head. And then he fainted and fell down. Iruka quickly stepped forward. Naruto. Hinata stood up worriedly. Naruto-kun. Iruka picked up Naruto, turned around and said, Continue to study, I'll take Naruto to the hospital. Then he ran out with Naruto in his arms. What happened to me? Did I return to my original world? Or did I wake up from a dream? Naruto slowly opened his eyes, and the first thing he saw was Iruka, sensei guarding the bed. Iruka. Naruto. You're awake, what's wrong? Naruto raised his hand and rubbed his head. My head hurts. While talking, blood flowed out from his nose. Naruto raised his hand to touch his nose and looked at his hand. Bright red blood covered his hands. Iruka was frightened and shouted in a panic. Where are the medical ninjas? Someone come. There's a situation here. At this moment, Naruto's vision blurred again, and a series of images began to play like a slideshow. Naruto clutched his head and cried out in pain. Those were the memories of the original Naruto. Memories from when he could remember until now. The pain lasted for more than 10 seconds before it finally stopped. Medical Ninja had already rushed to the side to check on Naruto's condition. It was a young woman with an ordinary appearance and figure. She was the kind of person who would not be recognized if she was thrown into a crowd. The female medical ninja checked Naruto's condition. His head is injured. Did he hurt his head before coming here? Iruka shook his head. I don't know. Naruto was in class. Could it be that Naruto had hit his head when he escaped from school? But even if it was just a fall, it shouldn't be so exaggerated. And Naruto's head didn't show any signs of injury. The female medical ninja checked again and again. At this time, Naruto's nose had stopped bleeding by itself. The female medical ninja said, I suggest that you stay in the hospital for a while. Iruka was about to agree when Naruto suddenly fainted, and then his nose suddenly bled profusely. This really scared him. But Naruto stopped him at this time. I'm fine. It's just a nosebleed. Iruka-sensei, let's go back to school. How could Iruka let Naruto go back? He was about to refuse when Naruto firmly said, tomorrow is the ninja exam. Come back after the exam. Otherwise, even if you leave me here, I'll run away. Iruka hesitated. Naruto, sensei, tomorrow's exam is very important to me. You don't want me to repeat another year in the ninja school, do you? Iruka. Okay, but after the exam, you must come back and check again. Naruto. Thank you, Iruka-sensei. Iruka. But today you have to live in my house. Live in Iruka-sensei's house? Is Iruka-sensei worried about me? A warm current passed through his heart. Then I'll have to trouble you, Iruka-sensei. Iruka was slightly surprised. He found that Naruto was a little different today. When they left the hospital, it was already late. Iruka took Naruto to eat ramen. After all, Iruka was also alone. There was nothing to cook at home. Is this Ichiraku ramen? After a large bowl of flavored ramen was served, the two of them began to eat. It was delicious. But what made Naruto like even more was the attitude of the people in the Ichiraku ramen restaurant towards him. They were very kind and didn't receive any strange looks from other places. No wonder the original Naruto liked this place. It was really comfortable here. Naruto. Thank you for your hospitality. Naruto put down his chopsticks and politely put down the bowl and chopsticks. Iruka slightly glanced at Naruto. Today's Naruto was indeed a little different. It seemed like he had grown up a lot. Please come again. Iruka, hey. Naruto, the exam is tomorrow. You didn't listen in class. How about I explain it to you at night? Naruto grinned and said, then I'll have to trouble you, Iruka-sensei. Iruka's house. Yeah, it was a little messy. Iruka awkwardly scratched his head and said, Naruto, wait outside for a bit. I'll go and clean up. I'll be done in a minute. Then he heard a series of clanking and even the sound of pots and pans falling on the ground. Just by listening to the sound, he knew how busy Iruka was inside. Naruto heard this and the smile on his face became even brighter. But then again, tomorrow's exam was indeed a problem. Naruto, I don't know if I can successfully use the clone technique. Ever since he experienced a headache, Naruto's memory had been copied to him. But with this alone he could barely pass the written exam. In terms of ninjutsu, Naruto said in his heart, 9 tails, you're in my body, right? You should be able to hear me, right? No response. Iruka-sensei finished cleaning up and walked out. Naruto, what did you just say? I suddenly wondered if I'll rely on the clone technique, which I'm the worst at. Iruka was slightly taken aback because this exam did indeed test the clone technique. Iruka. Then have you mastered the clone technique? Naruto. I'll try. Then according to his memory he began to make hand seals. Naruto clone technique. Bang. 2 10 times smaller versions of Naruto appeared in front of Naruto. Naruto. Iruka. Naruto scratched his head. Looks like I haven't mastered it yet. Then, should he practice the clone technique tonight? But the key was that Naruto knew that if he didn't remove the influence of 9 tails in his body, it would be useless no matter how many times he practiced, unless he learned the multiple shadow clone technique. According to the development of the original world, Naruto failed the exam, and Mizuki found him to secretly steal the Forbidden Technique scroll. Then Naruto learned the multiple shadow clone technique from the Forbidden Technique scroll. He exposed Mizuki's scheme and defeated Mizuki. From then on, Iruka-sensei gave him the ninja headband again, and passed the graduation exam. What should he do? Chapter 3. Should he cooperate with Mizuki to steal Forbidden Jutsu Scroll? The answer is yes. Because only by learning multiple shadow clone jutsu can he bypass the trouble of being unable to accurately control chakra caused by 9 tails, and reduce the gap between himself and others. Sasuke has been able to change the nature of chakra since he was a child, and he inherited the fireball jutsu of the Uchiha clan. After graduating from the ninja academy, it only took him one day to learn Kakashi's Chidori. Sakura was a little bit worse, and she slowly became stronger after forming a team, but her natural violent personality was also terrifying after encountering monster enhancement. Everyone in the Ino Shikicho team has a family inheritance. In addition, Tooth Inazuka, Shino Yomi, Hinata Ninji, and Hinata also have family inheritance. Tion is good at spatial ninjutsu scrolls, and Shaoli can be said to be against the heavens after learning 8 scrolls. In this case, if he doesn't have multiple shadow clone jutsu, then he won't be a ninja anymore. Then don't be a ninja. After you graduate, just work for Uncle Yao. However, the details of stealing forbidden jutsu scroll need to be replanned. In the original world, Mizuki found Naruto to secretly steal the forbidden jutsu scroll, Book of Seals. Then after Naruto stole the forbidden jutsu scroll, he exposed Naruto stealing the forbidden jutsu scroll. He planned to take the forbidden jutsu scroll as his own when everyone caught Naruto. Although Mizuki's matter was exposed in the end, in the process, Iruka was seriously injured by Mizuki's giant shuriken. He has to find a way to get the forbidden jutsu scroll and expose Mizuki without letting him hurt Iruka, sensei. Iruka, sensei has been so good to him, and he has no way to repay her, so he can only spend some time in this regard. Iruka, Naruto? Naruto. Naruto was lost in his thoughts. When he came back to his senses, he realized that he was still standing in front of Iruka's house. Naruto. Oh, sorry, I was lost in my thoughts. Iruka looked at Naruto worriedly. Is your head still hurting? Why don't we stay in the hospital? Naruto said. No, I was just lost in my thoughts. Iruka. Okay then, but you should go to bed early tonight. After all, you're not in good condition. Naruto. I'll listen to teacher Iruka. Iruka heaved a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Naruto would spend the entire night practicing the doppelganger technique. It wouldn't be good if something happened to Naruto's body. As for the graduation exam, from Iruka's point of view, the most important thing was that she was fine. If he didn't pass this year's exam, there was still next year. He arranged a room for Naruto. Iruka. If you need anything or feel uncomfortable, call me. I'll be next door. Naruto. Okay, teacher Iruka, good night. Iruka, good night. After pulling the door closed, Naruto looked around. Teacher Iruka's house was very simple. Tick-tock. He turned off the lights. Naruto closed his eyes. He tried to communicate with Ninetales. Naruto. Ninetales. I know you're in my body, answer me. But there was still no response. After trying a few more times, Naruto had to give up. After thinking about it, he thought of the Forbidden Technique scroll, also known as the Book of Seals. It didn't only have the doppelganger technique. In that case, should he learn other techniques as well? It was a bit impractical, but what if he memorized them? How was his memory? Naruto casually found a book in the room and tested it. It was very ordinary. There was no such thing as an eidetic memory. It was almost impossible to memorize it with just his eyesight. Copy it. Naruto believed that he didn't have that much time. While his eyes were wandering, Naruto saw teacher Iruka's photo on the desk. It was a color photo. Naruto. In other words, there are cameras in this world? If there was a camera, Naruto's brain became active. There were a lot of things that could be done with a camera. But, with the current state of technological development in this world, it was obviously impossible to have advanced electronic equipment. Some of the cameras were also old-fashioned, not suitable for espionage at all. But in Naruto's memory, there was something called the carbon copy scroll in this world. It could quickly record exam scrolls, suitable for espionage or important information collection and transmission. But it was very expensive. Naruto touched his pocket and took out a few coins and a crumpled bill. This money was definitely not enough. Moreover, according to his memory, his family didn't have much money. Sigh. He was the child of the 4th generation Naruto, but he was poor to this extent. Thinking about it, after the death of the father he never met, their money was used as public funds. And he had to receive a monthly allowance from the Woodleaf family. And he had to show a grateful expression. The people in the Woodleaf family who didn't know the truth looked at him with a bitter expression. Why was it so Get up? Was he not fated to learn the other ninjutsu on the forbidden technique scroll? Other ninjutsu aside, Naruto always felt that he might be able to learn the Flying Thunder God technique, because his cheap father was famous for the Flying Thunder God technique. In this body, why didn't he inherit some of his parents' excellent genes? Then what about borrowing money? Who should he borrow it from? Not Teacher Iruka. If he wanted to borrow money from Teacher Iruka, he should at least give a reason, right? Then there was no need to think about other people. At present, his interpersonal relationships were zero. That's not right. There was one more person. Hinata. With Lady Hinata's identity, she definitely didn't lack money. But he had done such a terrible thing. He didn't know what the consequences would be. What if Hinata already started to hate him? This night was destined to be a sleepless night for Naruto. The next day, early in the morning, Teacher Iruka came to wake Naruto up. In fact, last night when Naruto was still awake, Teacher Iruka had already come to see him several times. Therefore, after washing up, she was still yawning. In this regard, Naruto was very touched. Having someone who was worried about him, that kind of feeling was really good. After rushing to the school gate, Naruto saw Hinata walking in front of him. Should I give it a try? Naruto. Teacher Iruka, I want to say a few words to Hinata. Iruka's eyelids couldn't help but twitch, she whispered. What do you want to do? Naruto. I thought about it carefully. What I did yesterday was a bit too much. I'm going to apologize. This answer made Iruka somewhat surprised. It seems that Naruto's head not only didn't break, but also became enlightened. Iruka. Then go, don't waste too much time. There's still an exam today. Thinking about the exam, Iruka's heart couldn't help but sink. Today's competition might not be a problem, but tomorrow's ninjutsu exam. Naruto sigh. Iruka shook her head and silently left. After Iruka left, Naruto gritted his teeth and called out. That? Hinata. I have something to say to you. When Hinata heard Naruto's voice behind her, she was happy. Yesterday when Naruto suddenly fainted, she was scared. When she turned around and saw that Naruto was fine, she couldn't help but feel shy again. She remembered yesterday when Naruto confessed to her. It's so embarrassing, sobbed Hinata. Naruto. That the two spoke at the same time. Chapter 4. Naruto. First of all, I want to apologize. I didn't wake up last night, and thought I was dreaming. I'm really sorry. With that, Naruto bowed 90 degrees. Hinata blushed and blinked her eyes. Naruto-kun thought he was dreaming? So Naruto-kun thought he was dreaming of me and confessed to me? So, does this confession count as true? Hinata felt like her brain was spinning. She didn't know how to respond. Naruto. I hope you can forgive me, but I really like you, Hinata. She blushed. She was confessed to once again. So, if the last time didn't count, this time should count, right? Her heart was beating wildly, and Hinata had lost the ability to answer. Naruto. Hinata? After not hearing a response for a while, Naruto finally looked up. There were quite a few people around them. Hinata's face was red, and she looked extremely cute. Naruto. Well, there's something else. Let's talk somewhere else. Then he grabbed Hinata's hand and ran to the small forest next to the school. Naruto-kun was holding her hand. Her heart was racing. Happiness came too suddenly, and Hinata realized that she wasn't prepared for it at all. When they entered the small forest, there was no one around. Naruto whispered, Hinata, can I ask you something? Hinata whispered back, what is it? Naruto, well, I want to ask, do you know how much a carbon copy scroll costs? Carbon copy scroll? Why was he talking about carbon copy scrolls? However, Hinata tried her best to recall. She did see it in her memory. 5 to 6,000 taels. The small one seemed to cost more than 10,000 taels. This price was very expensive. Naruto, then, Hinata, can you get a small carbon copy scroll? Sigh. He really couldn't find a way, but he didn't want to give up this opportunity. It's just that, an item worth more than 10,000 taels, for the current Naruto, this was already a huge favor. Hinata. Does Naruto-kun need a copy scroll? Sure, I'll go home and take a look. If there are any, I'll give them to you tomorrow. Naruto took a deep breath. Thank you very much. In addition, due to special reasons, this matter cannot be told to anyone else. Hinata nodded in agreement again. Before leaving, Naruto glanced around. Hopefully, no one else was hiding in the dark. That was all he could do. As for the rest, he could only leave it to fate. The two of them returned to the classroom. Hinata. Naruto-kun, you have to do your best for this exam too. Naruto. Yes. However, I will definitely not be able to pass the exam. How sad. But it was a blessing in disguise. If it wasn't for the fact that I won't be able to pass the exam, Mizuki wouldn't have told me to steal a forbidden technique scroll. They returned to their seats. He would have to wait for tomorrow's results regarding the carbon copy scroll. Time slowly ticked by. The first exam was a written exam for each subject. It was about basic code deciphering, wilderness survival, investigation and counter-investigation, important world history, various types of ninja tools and their uses, and so on. There were many subjects, but they were all theoretical knowledge. Based on what he remembered, Naruto estimated that he would just barely pass. The first day passed by in the blink of an eye. After school, Hinata hesitated as to whether or not she should leave together with Naruto. But she had never waited for a boy to leave school with her before. Her face was burning red. I guess I shouldn't wait. Hinata was just about to leave. Naruto. Hinata? Were you waiting for me? Asterisk bang. Asterisk Hinata's face was about to explode. It was too embarrassing to be discovered like this. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? Hinata. I'm not, Naruto. Oh, no, I'll see you tomorrow then. Because of my health, I'll have to stay at Iruka Sensei's place today. Bye-bye. His health. Could it be that Naruto-kun's health hasn't recovered yet? Hinata was so anxious that she forgot about her embarrassment and asked nervously. Naruto-kun's health hasn't recovered yet? Naruto. It's fine, it's fine. It's just that Iruka Sensei doesn't want me to suddenly faint at home again. So I'm staying at Iruka's place until the exam. He's fine, as long as he's fine. Hinata breathed a sigh of relief. She shyly replied. Then I'll be leaving first. Bye. Naruto. Okay, bye. Hinata took a few steps forward and suddenly turned around. I noticed that Naruto-kun has changed a bit, but he's more confident and handsome. Then she ran away like she was flying. This scene fell into the eyes of Iruka Sensei, who had been single for more than 20 years, and he instantly received 100,000 points of damage. Is Iruka Sensei bringing Naruto home? When Naruto and Iruka left the school, they met Mizuki. Iruka greeted Mizuki. It's Sensei Mizuki, yes. Shueimu's smile was very bright, giving people a very trustworthy look. Naruto also greeted him. Mizuki. Naruto has an exam tomorrow, right? Then Naruto has to work hard too. Naruto. Okay, I will. The three of them brushed past each other. Mizuki, whether you're a good person or a bad person has nothing to do with me. But don't blame me for scheming against you. In his previous life, after he walked out of the orphanage, he experienced a lot of things. He picked up trash and stole. He was even almost kidnapped by human traffickers or beaten to a pulp to help those black-hearted people make money. It could be said that he had a lot of experience. Because of this, he understood how precious his life was. He spent a lot of effort to live until today, and he decided to continue living tenaciously. Wait, if he came to this world, then he might have already been killed in the other world. In order to not lose his hard-earned life, he had to work harder to live. Iruka. Naruto, what do you want to eat today? Naruto. Sensei Iruka, you're treating? Iruka. But don't make me poor. Naruto. Then let's have 3 big bowls of Tsungwei air ramen. Iruka. You're really not polite. He had already seen Naruto's appetite. Iruka. I really don't know where all the food went. Do you want 2 more bowls? Naruto smiled and didn't say anything. Okay. Then I won't be polite. The answer was straightforward. Iruka regretted asking this question for a moment. He went to Iruka-sensei's house again and tried to communicate with Ninetales more than once, but there was still no response. Could it be that Ninetales was sleeping? Haha, this joke isn't funny at all. In the original world, the first time Naruto saw Ninetales was after he met Jiraiya. That was when Jiraiya taught Naruto summoning jutsu. In order to force Ninetales out, Jiraiya pushed Naruto off the cliff. At the moment of life and death, Naruto's consciousness entered the space where Ninetales was sealed, and it was also the first time he saw Ninetales. Do I have to encounter a life-threatening situation? He shook his head and threw the idea of jumping off the cliff out of his head. He would never do that kind of thing. Naruto. Tomorrow is the ninjutsu exam. I hope everything goes well. Whether he can stand firm in this world depends on the exam. Chapter 5. Hinata. Naruto-kun. As the two of them talked more and more, and Naruto had already expressed his feelings, Hinata's courage also grew by quite a bit. At the very least, she dared to wave at Naruto. Naruto. Iruka-sensei, Hinata is calling me. Iruka's expression darkened as he passed by. Go ahead. When all of his students started to hold hands with girls, he was shocked. He, the sensei, was still single. Ah. You want to die? The two of them quietly went to a secluded area. Hinata handed the carbon copy scroll she bought to Naruto. Does this count as an exchange of tokens? Just thinking about it made him feel good. The scroll was very small, only the size of a normal person's pinky finger, and its diameter was no larger than a mung bean. There was also a brief instruction manual attached to the scroll. As long as chakra was injected into the scroll, it would automatically expand to the same size as the test scroll. Then, when the scroll was unfolded, a thin film would form on top of it to complete the carbon copy. Naruto noted down this person's name. Before entering the exam room, Hinata. Naruto-kun, you have to do your best today. Naruto. Okay, Hinata, you have to do your best too. I'll give you all my oil, it's useless even if I add it. The ninjutsu test was to go to the private classroom next door one by one to perform ninjutsu. Then it would be judged by the examiner. Iruka. Next, Naruto. Is it my turn? Naruto got up and subconsciously glanced at Hinata. Hinata was also looking at him and made a cute gesture of encouragement. Naruto grinned. Now it was time for sadness. He walked into the taijutsu testing room. Mr. Iruka and Mr. Mizuki were sitting side by side at the front desk. Today, Iruka was the head examiner, and Mizuki was the assistant examiner. The wood leaf ninja forehead protector was neatly placed on the podium. If he gets the forehead protector, he will be promoted to a genin, and then he will have a monthly income that is much higher than the current subsidy. At the same time, as long as they completed the mission, they would receive a reward corresponding to the level of the mission. Naruto wanted to obtain this identity from the bottom of his heart. Iruka. This year's ninjutsu exam subject is cloning. As expected, it was a clone technique. Mizuki looked at Naruto with a very kind smile. Naruto, start casting. Naruto skillfully formed a seal. Doppelganger technique. Boom. A doppelganger appeared beside Naruto, but it was like a withered eggplant. It was soft on the ground. Even Naruto himself wanted to beat it up. Iruka failed. Naruto took a deep breath and looked at Mr. Iruka. At this time, Mr. Iruka's expression was very serious. Naruto. I will continue to work hard. Mizuki interjected at this time. Anyway, Naruto also created a doppelganger, let him pass. Naruto looked at Mizuki. At this time, Mizuki's performance was quite sincere. If he was still the silly Naruto of the past, he would most likely agree with Mizuki and think that it was Mr. Iruka who made things difficult for him. After all, the mentality of a naughty child is like this. He simply can't see the good of those who have sincerely done a lot for him, but the false kindness of outsiders can fool him. Iruka. No. Other students can at least create 3 doppelganger. Naruto can only create 1, and it is useless, so I can't let Naruto pass. After changing his position and knowing the truth, looking at the scene in front of him, he couldn't have a trace of disgust toward Mr. Iruka. Naruto bowed his head. Mr. Iruka, I will go down first. However, even if he already knew the result, he still felt uncomfortable in his heart. Iruka. Next, Hinata. Hinata walked out of the classroom and happened to meet Naruto. She also heard Mr. Iruka's words just now, so she couldn't help but look at Naruto worriedly. Naruto-kun? Naruto. Don't worry, nothing will happen. I will graduate from the Ninja Academy. Hinata. Yes. I believe in Naruto-kun. Naruto. Hurry up and take the exam. Hinata. Okay. Naruto didn't return to the classroom. Instead, he walked outside alone and walked on the wood-leaf street. Naruto ignored the disgusted expressions of the passers-by. In his eyes, other people's gazes had no meaning at all, because whether they looked down on him or not, that was their business. Han Xian could endure the humiliation of being under his crotch, so what was this little bit of him? However, what he didn't understand was why Sandaime Naruto told the village that he was the demon fox. Why did he set up a rule that only Naruto couldn't know? Why did he have to hide his identity, to protect him? Because he was afraid that Sandaime Naruto's old enemies would come for revenge? Sandaime Naruto sacrificed his own son for the village. Didn't he get the village's protection in return? Just because he was afraid of attracting enemies and bringing trouble to the village. He let a child live under everyone's strange gazes from a young age? Didn't his conscience hurt by doing this? Taking a deep breath, he looked up at the sky. The clouds in the sky were so white, so high, so pure, and so leisurely. He couldn't help but feel a trace of envy in his heart. Being a carefree cloud, when the wind blew, it would slowly disperse. That kind of life was yearning for. Naruto. So you're here. I saw you walking out of the school, and was quite worried about you. Is he here? Naruto turned around. Reflected in the face of the person in front of him was a face full of worry and pity. It was Mizuki, no doubt about it. It was a pity that this expression, if it was made by Iruka, wouldn't it be more vivid? Or perhaps it was Hinata, the kind and pure daisy that was pure and untainted. Naruto lowered his head. Teacher Mizuki, what's the matter? He wasn't very good at acting yet. Or maybe he didn't want to look pitiful in front of this person. Mizuki, are you worried about not passing the exam? Trust me, Teacher Iruka definitely isn't targeting you. Naruto, Mizuki. Let's go somewhere else to talk, then I'll tell you about Iruka's childhood. Naruto. Mizuki brought Naruto to a place where there was no one. It was a high platform. Looking down from here, all the houses seemed to be much shorter. Mizuki. Actually, Iruka-sensei is the same as you. Iruka-sensei is also an orphan. Mizuki began to perform. Naruto cooperated. After a long time, he finally got to the point. Naruto, do you want to pass the exam? There's a secret I want to tell you. If you succeed, you will definitely pass the exam and graduate smoothly. It's here. Naruto was already mentally prepared, but his heart couldn't help but feel a little nervous at this moment. This will be a test, and it will also be an important turning point in his life. If he passes it, he will get a chance to stand in this world. If he doesn't pass it, he will have to repeat a year in the ninja school and live a life where he can only get a little subsidy every day. He also has to bear the malice of every street with a grateful smile. Chapter 6. Mizuki. I know a scroll that records very powerful ninjutsu. As long as you get it and learn the ninjutsu on it, you won't have a problem in the graduation exam. Naruto. Really? Where is that scroll? Mizuki. It's in Sandaime Naruto-sama's house. Naruto. Then how do I get it? Sandaime Naruto is the strongest ninja in the village. Mizuki. It's okay. Don't you always like to play pranks? This time it's just a prank. When night comes, you can sneak in. If you're discovered, you can use seduction techniques to get out. Didn't you always do that in the past? Yes, he did do that in the past, but this time it's different. This time it's not as simple as a child's prank. The most important thing is, after being discovered by Sandaime Naruto, even if Sandaime Naruto doesn't immediately follow him, he will definitely use binoculars to investigate. If he finds out that he recorded a copy of the scroll, it will be very bad. Naruto. Mizuki-sensei, since you're so powerful, you must have a way to help me lure Sandame Naruto away from his house, right? If that's the case, it'll be easier for me to do it. Mizuki was slightly surprised. He felt that Naruto was a little different today. He actually thought of this kind of thing. Didn't Naruto usually dare to do anything without using his brain? This guy even painted Naruto's rock with paint last week. Naruto. Mizuki-sensei? Hey, you'll help me, right? You also want me to pass the exam, right? Mizuki. I naturally want you to pass the exam, Naruto. Mizuki cursed in his heart. Who cares if you can pass the graduation exam or not? You want to graduate from the ninja school by stealing a forbidden technique scroll? You'll be locked up in jail, right? I just want to get the forbidden technique scroll. No, you don't even need to go to prison. Once you get the forbidden technique scroll, I'll kill you and disguise myself as you to escape. Mizuki. Let me think. Oh, by the way, I can ask Naruto Sandame to take a photo with this year's graduating students. You can steal the forbidden technique scroll while everyone is watching the drama at the ninja school. What do you think? Naruto asked, but when are we going to take photos? Mizuki. Let's do it this afternoon. When the time comes, you have to be nimble. Don't run out immediately after you get the scroll. You're pretty good at transformation, right? You should disguise yourself when the time comes. After all, it's daytime. Naruto. Okay. Mizuki then explained to Naruto what the scroll looked like. Mizuki. Remember, it's called the sealing scroll. It's green on both sides, so it's easy to find. Naruto. Okay, Mizuki-sensei, I'll remember. Mizuki. Okay, wait for my news. He watched Mizuki leave. This is interesting. The ninja school graduation exam came to an end in the morning. At noon, Mizuki found Naruto at the agreed location. We'll take the graduation photo at 1 p.m. You can do it then. Naruto. Okay. Thank you very much, Mizuki-sensei. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to graduate from the ninja school. Mizuki. Okay, good luck. In order for you to learn the techniques on the scroll, we'll meet at the agreed location. When the time comes, I'll teach you the ninjutsu on the scroll. You'll definitely be able to graduate from the ninja school. Naruto. Okay. Teach me? It's not that I'm looking down on you. But seriously, can you learn the ninjutsu on the scroll? Mizuki left. At this time, he still understood the meaning of Naruto's words. He didn't realize that he was being treated as an experienced baby. 1 p.m. Sandame Naruto showed up at the ninja school as agreed. Iruka. Come, please gather the students who passed the ninja school exam. Sandame Naruto, Sama wants to take a photo with us. 27 students ran over in a hustle and bustle. Iruka looked at the students gathered together and looked around. He was looking for Naruto. Naruto was the only one who didn't pass this year's graduation exam, so he couldn't help but feel a little worried. Naruto. Iruka? Come, let's take a photo together. Iruka, okay. Everyone sat together, while Mizuki stood on the side and watched. He was just an assistant, not a real teacher. Because he killed his companions in order to complete a mission, his qualification as a teacher was revoked. But he didn't accept it. What did he do wrong? As a ninja, shouldn't he do anything to complete the mission? Mizuki looked up at the direction of Naruto's house. Now Naruto, that silly boy, should have started to act. I hope this silly boy will be smart enough to leave Konoha as soon as I get the scroll. Let these stupid people continue to laugh, and I hope they can laugh for a long time. Naruto. Mizuki, you also come and take a photo together. Mizuki was slightly surprised. Me? At the same time, when everyone's eyes were focused on the graduation photo of the ninja school Naruto quietly came to Sandame Naruto's house. He had transformed into Woodleaf Maru. Woodleaf Maru himself was sleeping at home. Naruto saw it when he snuck into the house. Woodleaf Maru was at home. Then would Woodleaf Maru's tutor, Ibisho-sensei, be in this house as well? Naruto was a bit nervous. He snuck in through Woodleaf Maru's window. What if he met Ibisho-sensei? From what he remembered, Ibisho-sensei was very sensitive to seduction techniques. Haha. It didn't seem like a good idea, so it was best not to meet him. He gently opened the door to Woodleaf Maru's room. Naruto glanced back through the crack in the door. No one. He then looked back at Woodleaf Maru, who was sleeping soundly. He walked out of the room and gently closed the door behind him. Study, where is the study? According to Mizuki's introduction, it's here. Naruto carefully moved forward, and when he passed by the bathroom, he was startled. There was a sound in the bathroom. It was Ibisho-sensei. He was complaining that Woodleaf Maru had drugged him. From the sound of it, he was having diarrhea. Naruto took a deep breath. If he succeeded this time, he would have to thank Woodleaf Maru. Naruto didn't know when Ibisho-sensei came out of the bathroom, so he quickened his pace. He successfully snuck into Naruto's study. There was a dazzling array of scrolls stacked on the bookshelves. There was a green background. Book of Seals, where are you? Found it. To think that such an important book of seals could be obtained so easily, it was truly. Naruto picked up the Book of Seals and found a secluded place in the study. Then he began recording with a carbon copy scroll. The first ninjutsu was the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto glanced over it as he recorded. Then he saw the Hashiman Tanku, Spirit Transformation, Woodleaf Swordsmanship, Mutual Explosion Charm, Edo Tensei, Flying Thunder God Jutsu. Naruto's heart skipped a beat every time he saw one. These ninjutsu were Woodleaf's secrets. Naruto was startled by the sound of footsteps. Ibisho-sensei came out of the bathroom. At this time, the scroll flipped to the end and revealed a technique that looked like a key. What is this? But there was no time to investigate. Ibisho-sensei had come out of the bathroom. What he needed to do now was to hide as quickly as possible and not be discovered. Suddenly, Ninetales' voice sounded in his mind. Kid, take this scroll with you. I can promise you anything. Chapter 7. Ninetales finally took the initiative to contact him. After coming to this world, Naruto tried to contact Ninetales every day, but he didn't succeed even once. This time he actually took the initiative to come out. Also, Ninetales wanted this scroll? Why? Naruto looked at the open scroll and looked at the half-open technique. The technique was signed. 4 symbols seal unseal. Could this be the key to the 4 symbols seal? It shouldn't be. Didn't Yondaime leave the key to Toad? Wait. It's not impossible. The human pillar force of Woodleaf and Ninetales wasn't just limited to Uzumaki Kushina's generation. The 4 symbols seal wasn't invented by Kushina, but passed down by the Uzumaki clan. In other words, this technique might not have been left behind by Yondaime. Naruto's brain quickly thought. Ninetales urged. Hurry up and take this scroll away. In the corridor outside the door, there was a dull sound of footsteps. It was Woodleaf Maru's tutor coming out of the toilet. But soon, the footsteps suddenly turned back, cursed, and ran back to the toilet again. It sounded like his stomach was uncomfortable again, so he had to continue squatting. Perhaps it was because of nervousness. Naruto heard these sounds very clearly. Naruto replied to Ninetales. This scroll can't be taken away. Ninetales. Boy, you dare disobey my order. Naruto. Ninetales-sama, if you haven't been locked up for too long, have you lost your mind? Take away the scroll. And then what? Can I release you from your body, or can I take you out of Woodleaf? But although I can't take it away, I can copy this technique first. Ninetales. Boy, how dare you talk to me like that? Naruto. Ninetales-sama, can you be quiet for a while and beat Sundara another time? I have to hurry up and escape from here. It won't be fun if I get caught. Sundara? What was that? Ninetales could not think straight for a moment. However, seeing that Naruto had also copied the 4 symbols seal, he did not continue to clamor for the scroll to be taken away. Just now he was a little worried, but when he saw the method to lift the 4 symbols seal, he suddenly became excited. After recording the entire Forbidden Technique scroll, Naruto rolled it up as fast as he could. Then he placed the scroll back in its original position. Naruto suddenly whispered in his heart, No, it's better to take this scroll away. Ninetales asked curiously, Why did you suddenly change your mind? Naruto asked, How did I manage to obtain something as important as a forbidden scroll so easily? Clearly this is a trap. Naruto carried the forbidden spell scroll with him and left Sandaime Naruto's house without a hitch. At the same time, Teacher E walked out of the toilet. He didn't look like he had a bad stomach at all. He carefully inspected the study. His hand pressed on a small communication device on his ear. Reporting to Sandaime Naruto has stolen the Book of Seals. When he returned home, Naruto threw the forbidden spell scroll aside. His consciousness continued to communicate with Nine Tails. Nine Tails, you're saying that this is all a trap? Naruto, most likely. Nine Tails, what's the reason? Naruto, it went too smoothly. Nine Tails, well, it's a little strange. The Woodleaf people shouldn't be that stupid to let you get the key to the four symbol seal so easily. Then they probably did this to lure some people out. Nine Tails, but how did they do it? This plan was planned by you and that little guy Mizuki, which means that only the two of you know about it. Would Mizuki take the initiative to publicize it? Naruto. He really did publicize it because he thought of a way to use graduation photos as an excuse. Although the ninja graduation exam is over, there's still one last test. Now most of the people who graduated will go back to the ninja school to study again, which means that taking graduation photos now is meaningless. Sandaime Naruto actually agreed to such a meaningless thing. Naruto clenched his fists. Sandaime must have guessed that he would steal the forbidden spell scroll at this time. At the same time, his family must have made preparations. He just didn't know about the carbon copy scroll. He hoped that no one was watching when he was taking the exam. No. He couldn't pin his hopes on such unrealistic expectations. Naruto. Nine Tails-sama, can you do me a favor? Nine Tails. What favor? Naruto. Nine Tails-sama, your memory isn't bad, right? Nine Tails. What is it? Naruto. I want you to memorize all the ninjutsu in this scroll. Nine Tails. Interesting. But what if I memorize it? Do you think I can still teach you? Naruto. We can make a deal. With that, Naruto opened the scroll again. Nine Tails laughed wildly. I found you to be an interesting little guy. I'm interested in meeting you now. Naruto's vision changed, and the surrounding scenery began to distort. When it returned to normal, it was no longer his house in front of him, but a huge iron gate. On the other side of the iron gate, a huge demon fox looked down at him. It had a head bigger than a building, white teeth, and dazzling red hair like flames. The first impression that Nine Tails gave Naruto was a sense of oppression. Nine Tails said, Kid, tell me your identity, who are you? Naruto. I'm Naruto. Nine Tails. If you're Naruto, then who's the person on the ground? On the ground, Naruto looked down and saw another Naruto. Ha! Naruto fell on the ground. Then Naruto raised his hand and touched his face. It was a very familiar outline. When he lowered his head again, the water on the ground reflected a human face, which was his original appearance. And between him and Naruto, there was a connection. What is going on? Naruto's original soul still exists in this body. He raised his hand and subconsciously touched Naruto's face. It was just a curious action, but he didn't expect that in the next moment, Naruto's body on the ground would begin to twist and merge into his body through his hand. Once again, he felt a splitting headache. His vision turned black and he fainted. Naruto. Naruto. He felt that someone was calling his name, and it seemed to be Iruka, Sensei's voice. Then someone picked him up and left his room. When he woke up again, he was already in the hospital. This was the second time he came to this hospital. But the bed was different from the last time. This was a closed room. Naruto, you're awake? It was Iruka Sensei. Naruto, Sensei. Awake? Alright then, come with us. A cold voice came from the door of the room. Umbu Ninja. Iruka. Naruto just woke up. Let's talk about it after he recovers. Iruka. Sensei wanted to dissuade them, but the Umbu Ninja wouldn't listen to him. In the next moment, a ninja appeared behind Iruka and captured Iruka. Then another Umbu Ninja took Naruto and disappeared from the hospital. Interrogation room. The person interrogating him. Sandaime Naruto. Sandaime Naruto. Naruto, tell me about this. Naruto pointed at the forbidden technique scroll on the table, as well as the carbon copy scroll. Chapter 8. Say. What should I say? Say that Mizuki asked me to steal it? But before it happened, before he could lure Mizuki out, he fainted. I don't have enough evidence to prove my innocence. Not knowing what to say, Naruto could only remain silent. In his mind, he contacted Ninetales. Ninetales-sama, have you memorized the ninjutsu on the scroll? However, there was no news from Ninetales. What's going on? Why is Ninetales ignoring me again? Without Ninetales leading the way, Naruto couldn't enter the space where Ninetales was sealed. He couldn't help but feel a little annoyed. I can't rush, I have to calm down now. Anyway, things are already like this. If I don't calm down, it will only make things worse. Naruto secretly warned himself. Naruto, don't worry, just say what you want to say. I already know that Mizuki instructed you to do this. After you fainted, Iruka was worried about you and went to your house to find you. Then Mizuki also went to find you. Iruka changed into your appearance and saw through the conspiracy. This kind of thing happened after I fainted? Since the truth is already out, what else does Sandaime want me to say? Soon, Naruto knew what Sandaime wanted him to say. Naruto picked up the small copy scroll and said to Naruto, "You just have to explain this clearly. You recorded the content in this scroll, right?" Naruto, yes. Naruto, this scroll is very valuable. How did you get it? Naruto, I picked it up from the ground. The third Hokage. Naruto, if you choose to lie, then you will never become a ninja. Naruto didn't speak, he didn't want to involve Hinata. But on second thought, Naruto Sandaime might have already found out the truth. Naruto of a village wants to find out the origin of a newly bought ninja tool. So it won't take much effort. Naruto said. I borrowed it from someone else, but I'm fully responsible for this. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Naruto raised his eyebrows and nodded. Then what do you want to do with it? From the results of Mizuki's interrogation, he didn't find you when you obtained this scroll. When he obtained this scroll, sure enough, Sandaime Naruto had already investigated the origins of the carbon copy scroll. Naruto, also the written exam would have already ended by then. You couldn't have cheated. So, what do you want to do with this thing? Naruto stared at Naruto. Very sharp eyes, different from the usual old and turbid eyes, and different from Ninetales, who was full of madness and wanted to destroy everything. At this moment, Sandaime Naruto's eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. This was the feeling that Sandaime Naruto gave Naruto. How can I slip away from these eyes? Naruto Sandaime. Naruto, you have become a little different recently. Are you affected by other factors? Is there a voice that bewitches you to do something? Bewitchment? Is Naruto Sandaime worried that I'm being controlled by Ninetales? Naruto Sandaime suddenly had an idea. He thought of a way to break out of this situation. Naruto Sandaime. Well, I didn't want to say it, but since Naruto Sandaime asked, I'll say it. Just a few days ago, when I had a headache for the first time, I saw my father. And I witnessed the battle between him and Ninetales from his perspective. Naruto Sandaime was shocked. The father you are talking about is Naruto Sandaime, Minato Namikaze. Naruto Sandaime took a deep breath. Naruto Sandaime. That's impossible. Minato Namikaze. Naruto Sandaime. The seal on my body was sealed by him, and at the same time, part of his chakra was sealed, so that I could see him. Naruto Sandaime. So, you know everything? Naruto Sandaime calmly looked at Naruto Sandaime and nodded. The sharpness in Naruto Sandaime's eyes was no longer there, replaced by a rare panic. Naruto Sandaime. There is a reason for this matter to be hidden from you. Naruto Sandaime. Do I understand? My father said for my safety, and for the safety of Woodleaf. Naruto Sandaime choked back the words that were on the tip of his tongue. Then he took a few deep breaths to calm his uneasy mood. After a long while, Naruto Sandaime's mouth opened for a long time. Then what does this have to do with you wanting to borrow the carbon copy scroll? Naruto Sandaime. I want to use it to copy the shadow clone jutsu. I learned from my father that the reason why I can't use the shadow clone jutsu is because my chakra is affected by 9 tails, but I can learn the shadow clone jutsu. Naruto Sandame. Since Minato said that you can learn the shadow clone jutsu, why didn't he teach you himself? Naruto Sandame. His time was limited. He told me something, and then disappeared. He couldn't let Naruto Sandame ask any more questions, otherwise, it would be easy to slip up. Naruto Sandame. Naruto Sandame. Do you have any other questions? If you don't, I still have some questions. Didn't my father and mother leave anything for me after they died? Naruto Sandame. Since you saw the whole process with your own eyes, you know that their deaths were very sudden. When we arrived, it was already too late. Naruto Sandame. So their money, their belongings, everything was confiscated because they didn't have time to make a will? Naruto Sandame. Naruto Sandame. Things aren't what you think. At that time, 9 tails invaded the village and caused great damage to the village. The village needs to be rebuilt. Naruto Sandame. So it was confiscated? After I lost my parents, I didn't have anything left but myself, and I still have to live under the strange gazes of everyone? Naruto Sandame roared. Naruto Sandame. Naruto Sandame. Naruto Sandame. Naruto Sandame is angry out of shame. So are you going to kill me? The one who knows the truth? Or life imprisonment? In fact, I'm very curious. Since you concealed that my father is Naruto Sandame, why did you expose that I have 9 tails sealed in my body? Do you want to continue to use me to announce to the entire ninja world that the 9 tails wood leaf is a powerful destructive weapon to deter all sides? Naruto Sandame took a deep breath and pressed his hand on his temple. Sorry, I shouldn't have yelled at you. You are right, inheriting their legacy is what I should do. I will calculate their assets as soon as possible and restore them as much as possible, and then put them under your name. After saying this, he no longer communicated with Naruto Sandame and left. In the interrogation room, several ninjas looked at Naruto Sandame in surprise. Is this the son of Sandame Naruto Sandame? This news is a high-level secret in the wood leaf, and not all ninjas know about it. According to the report and the news announced to the public, Uzumaki Kushina was pregnant and fought against 9 tails with Sandame Naruto Sandame. Both of them died without leaving any children. Therefore, when he heard this news, it was really shocking. But if this is the son of a hero, then he is really miserable. After Sandame Naruto Sandame left, there was finally news about 9 tails again. 9 tails. If that old guy is with you, he will find out that I am awake. The scenery in front of Naruto Sandame changed, and his consciousness entered the space of 9 tails. Naruto Sandame on the ground has disappeared. So they fused together? Looking down at the water under the cage, the reflection of Naruto Sandame's face was the face of Sandame. After the fusion, it seems that there is no difference. Naruto Sandame raised his head. 9 tails, Sama, you have memorized all the ninjutsu on the scroll. Chapter 9. Naruto. 9 tails, Sama, have you memorized all the ninjutsu on the forbidden technique scroll? 9 tails. I have, but how do you want to trade with me? Memorized? That's good, although there were various accidents in the process, the result was worth it. Naruto finally breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he lamented how good it would be if he had a photographic memory. He wouldn't have to ask Hinata for a copy scroll, and he wouldn't have to do so many things. He wouldn't have to think of a way to trade with 9 tails. Thinking of the forbidden technique scroll, Naruto's consciousness suddenly left 9 tails' sealed space. He didn't return to reality, but Naruto Sandame's study. He was squatting in the corner, holding the forbidden technique scroll in his hand. What's going on? Naruto was shocked by this change, and when he was about to stand up, he found that he couldn't move, and his view was fixed. This was the view he had when he sneaked into Naruto Sandame's house. Naruto understood that he didn't really come to Naruto Sandame's house. This was his memory. The scene was very real, as if he was really in Naruto Sandame's house. Naruto quickly looked at the forbidden technique scroll. The place where it was unfolded was the shadow clone technique. Naruto tried to move the scroll, and the other ninjutsu could also be read. Is this Ninetales helping me? Naruto. Ninetales-sama? Naruto called out. And then the scene in front of him changed, and his consciousness returned to Ninetales' sealed space. Ninetales. Kid, what are you doing? I'm asking you what you want to trade for these ninjutsu. If you don't have a good price, I won't work for you for free. Naruto. Ninetales-sama. You just let me see the ninjutsu on the Forbidden Technique scroll, right? Your ability is too awesome. Ninetales. What are you talking about? What Forbidden Technique scroll? Not Ninetales. What's going on? Naruto was a little confused. Wait a minute. Could it be that he had memorized the scene? Forbidden Technique scroll, multiple shadow clone technique. Naruto tried to recall the scene of the third Naruto's family. The scene changed again, and Naruto found himself back in Sandame Naruto's study. The Forbidden Technique scrolls in his hands could be read at will. F***CK. This was awesome. This was even more awesome than having a photographic memory. It was simply a perfect reproduction of the scene. Ninetales' voice rang in his ears. Brat! Are you even listening to me? Naruto. That deal is cancelled. I found that I've memorized those ninjutsu. Ninetales roared. Are you playing with me? Naruto. No, I'm also a little surprised about this. Maybe it's because I fused with two souls that my memory has strengthened. Well, let's talk about it later. I'll try to practice the shadow clone jutsu first. After seriously watching the multiple shadow clone jutsu dozens of times, Naruto's mind moved, and his consciousness separated from the memory. Naruto asked the ninjas in the interrogation room. Then can I practice ninjutsu here? The ninjas looked at each other. The third Naruto didn't say anything before leaving. But looking at the third Naruto's reaction, this brat was definitely the fourth Naruto's child. After thinking about it, they were all saved by the fourth Naruto. Even if they were ninjas, they couldn't help but feel guilty for making things difficult for a hero's child. One of the ninjas replied, yes. After all, the third Naruto didn't say no, didn't he? Naruto. Thank you very much. He recalled the whole process of the multiple shadow clone technique in his mind. He recalled the key points pointed out in the note. Naruto began to mobilize chakra and practiced. An hour later, Naruto successfully created a clone. Then he continued to practice. It didn't take long for the two clones to become 3, 9, and eventually a dozen, and then dozens. The entire interrogation room was filled with Naruto. The ninjas on duty in the interrogation room were already stunned. Naruto. Yoshi. Then the next thing is to see what the clones can do. The seal scroll indicated that the multiple shadow clone technique was a ninjutsu that combined reconnaissance and combat. The opportunity to remove the ninjutsu can be completed by the clone and the main body. In this regard, the main body has the highest choice. At the same time, before the clone, the main body can pass the idea to the clone. This is widely used in detective work. Instruction. The clone goes to play rock paper scissors with the ninja at the door of the interrogation room. After the winner is determined, it will be removed automatically. Naruto. Multiple shadow clone technique. Naruto created 3 clones. One of the clones came to the door according to the previous instruction. Can you play rock paper scissors with me? The ninja looked at Naruto in surprise. He already knew Naruto's intention. Ninja. Yes, I'm willing to help. Rock paper scissors. Clone. Thank you. Then his hands automatically formed seals. Bang. The clone was removed. At the same time, Naruto knew the result of the rock paper scissors game in his mind. In that game he played rock, and the other party played scissors. He won. At the same time, Naruto looked at the clone that still existed. He couldn't control it with his mind. He opened his mouth and asked, "You know the result just now?" The clone replied, "We won." Naruto. What's the specific situation? Clone. We played rock, and the other party played scissors. That was to say, when a clone was removed, the information obtained by the clone would be transmitted to all the surviving clones at the same time. In that case, if he wanted to convey an order to the clones that had already left, would he only need to dictate the order to one of the clones, and then have that clone remove the order? and the information would be transmitted? If that was the case, wouldn't it conflict with the original body's previous order to remove the order? Naruto continued to experiment. The same command. Naruto. Multiple shadow clone technique. 2 clones were created. Once again, Naruto went to the door and played rock paper scissors with the ninja. While in progress, Naruto whispered to the other clone. Go to the clone that played rock paper scissors with the door. After the rock paper scissors game, find the opposite ninja and play rock paper scissors again. Then remove the clone. After he finished speaking, the clone that received the order removed the clone. However, the order wasn't carried out correctly. After the clone finished the rock paper scissors game with the door guard, the clone was removed. Naruto. Then let's try again. Command. Go to the door and play rock paper scissors with the ninja. If you receive other orders during the rock paper scissors game, continue to carry it out. If you don't receive any orders within 5 seconds, automatically remove the clone. This time, it was a success. The clone first went to the door and played rock paper scissors game, and then played a second rock paper scissors game according to the command. If there were no orders within 5 seconds, the clone automatically removed the clone. Naruto. Interesting, this technique is really interesting. At present, it seemed that the first order issued had the highest authority. All subsequent orders must be changed based on the first order. Naruto. Try the clone's ninjutsu again. Command. Run to the door and use the multiple shadow clone technique again. This command was a success. However, when the clone used the shadow clone technique again, the chakra in Naruto's body didn't decrease. In other words, the clone released the chakra in the clone's body. Naruto. You learned the multiple shadow clone technique. Naruto Sandaime-sama came back again. He pushed the door open and entered, and looked at the 3 Naruto in the room with a surprised expression. Chapter 10. Naruto cancelled the ninjutsu, and the clones disappeared. Naruto. It took a lot of effort, but I finally learned it. Sandaime Naruto pursed his lips, sighed, and sat in front of Naruto again. Naruto. Let's talk again. Naruto. Sure, what do you want to talk about, Sandaime Naruto-sama? Naruto looked at Naruto very seriously. You didn't learn any other jutsu apart from the shadow clone jutsu, right? Naruto. No, I learned the shadow clone jutsu, and then suddenly fainted. Naruto stared at Naruto closely. He was afraid that Naruto would also learn the Edo Tensei. It was understandable that a child who lost his parents would learn a jutsu that could resurrect his parents, but the Edo Tensei was too evil and required the sacrifice of a living person, so he absolutely wouldn't allow it to spread. But on second thought, perhaps Naruto didn't know about the Edo Tensei that could resurrect the dead? This was very likely, as Yondaime-sama wouldn't be so ignorant. There was also the removal of the 4 symbols seal. He was probably thinking too much. Naruto took a deep breath and changed the topic. Since you have learned the shadow clone jutsu, you can graduate from the ninja academy. Naruto. You want to let me go? Naruto. But there is a condition. Don't mention that Yondaime-sama is your father before you grow up. Trust me, Naruto, that might really bring you unnecessary trouble. Naruto. Okay, but I also have a condition. No, it would be more appropriate to call it a request. I want to be in the same class as Hinata. Naruto. Reason? Naruto. She is the only person who doesn't treat me as a monster. Sandaime Naruto remained silent for a long time. Finally, she nodded and said, Okay, then report to the Ninja Academy tomorrow. I will tell Iruka about your matter. Naruto. Thank you, Grandpa Naruto, 3rd generation. I think you're a good person. From the 3rd Naruto's address to the 3rd Naruto's attitude towards the 3rd Naruto's grandfather, it could be said that there was a 180-degree change. Naruto paused for a moment before shaking his head with a wry smile. You little rascal. Don't worry, I'll verify the money your parents left behind and transfer it to you soon. It's been hard on you all these years, making you go through so many painful experiences. Zai, do you have any other requests? If not, you can go home. Naruto. That's all, but there's one thing that I'm more concerned about. I wonder if Grandpa Naruto can explain it to me. Sandaime Naruto, let's hear it. Naruto. What happened after I fainted? How did Mizuki get exposed? Naruto. Iruka was worried about you, so he went to your house to see you, but he found you fainted on the ground with the scroll of seals beside you. Stealing the scroll of seals is a big deal. The forbidden techniques recorded in it can't be easily passed on. This matter, for a ninja, must be reported. But when Iruka was about to give you and the scroll to me, Mizuki suddenly knocked on the door. You fainted and Iruka felt that something was wrong, so he turned into you and contacted Mizuki. Then Mizuki was exposed. That's it. That's really lucky, Naruto. But since the scroll of seals recorded forbidden techniques, why was it so easy to steal it? Naruto. This, Naruto. Grandpa Naruto. Did you suspect Mizuki from the beginning? Then you used me to lure him out? Naruto. Huh? Naruto, you also know how to think. I thought you didn't notice. Naruto. Although I usually do some brainless things to attract attention, I'm not really stupid. Okay, that's all. Naruto. Well, then you can go home, and remember to report to the ninja school tomorrow. After saying that, he handed Naruto a piece of paper with the time and place of registration. After Naruto left, the ninjas in the interrogation room were given strict orders not to say a word about what they saw or heard today to anyone else. When the ninja in the interrogation room left, another person appeared in the interrogation room. White hair and a mask, only one eye was exposed. It was Kakashi. Naruto. He will be your student from now on. Kakashi. It feels like a hard job. Naruto. Well, but even if he's Yondaime-sama's child, if there's any change, you can't let it go, so you have to worry a little more. Kakashi-sai. Can't this task be given to someone else? I suddenly feel that the Umbu is more suitable for me. Naruto. No one else can do this except you. There's also a child of the Uchiha family. After all, you're the only one in the village who can teach him the Sharingan. Kakashi. Okay. Kakashi's face was lifeless. On the other side, after Naruto walked out of the interrogation room, the stone hanging in his heart was finally put down. From the time he planned to steal the forbidden technique scroll until now, it can be said that there were many twists and turns. The whole thing wasn't in his plan at all. All kinds of unexpected events made him miserable. But the result was good. First, he got all the ninjutsu in the forbidden technique scroll. Second, he will get the inheritance of the Yondaime-sama couple. Third, Hinata will be in the same class as him. Fourth, after the two souls fused together, it gave him an extremely powerful memory. In short, it was worth it. Naruto tried to contact Ninetales. Ninetales-sama, is it convenient to talk now? Ninetales replied impatiently. What else? Naruto. I want to have a good talk with you about getting along in the future. Ninetales. Getting along? What do you mean? Naruto. Half of Ninetales-sama's body is sealed by the Uzumaki clan's corpse ghost seal in the stomach of the Shinigami, right? I know how to save the other half of your body, and I want a promise from you. Ninetales. Little brat, are you serious? Naruto. Absolutely serious. Ninetales. Interesting, then what promise do you want me to make? Naruto. Stay in my body while I'm alive, and don't try to control me. Ninetales. You want me to obey you? Naruto. It's not obedience, our relationship is equal. I just want us to get along well. Ninetales. Equal interesting. Then to show that we're equal, you can tear the seal talisman on the cage. The scene in front of Naruto's eyes suddenly changed, and Ninetales pulled his consciousness into the sealed space of Ninetales. Ninetales. What's wrong? Didn't you say equality? Why don't you go and tear off that eyesore of a talisman? Chapter 11. Undoing the nine-tailed beast's seal. Not to mention whether he could do it now. If he really did it, the nine-tailed beast would definitely swallow him without hesitation. After a long silence, Naruto smiled bitterly. Alright, I admit that at the moment, there is no equality between us. Then let's take a step back and make a deal of equal value. How about that? Ninetales glanced at him and said, Hey, How do we make a deal? I lend you my power, and you help me find the other half of my body? Naruto shook his head. As far as I know, if I'm killed, you won't live either, so as long as I'm in danger, you won't stand by and do nothing. So let's forget about lending me your power. Instead, you'll be my teacher and guide me in my cultivation. Then I'll help you find the other half of your body. Ninetales was stunned, the corners of his mouth cracked open, revealing his white teeth. Interesting, you want to be apprenticed to a fox demon like me? Naruto's expression turned serious, and he replied seriously, yes. Ninetales sneered. Do you know what you're saying? I killed your parents, and you want to be apprenticed to me? Naruto shook his head. Master Ninetales, you seem to have forgotten that I'm not the real Naruto. I'm also an outsider who has occupied Naruto's body. In a sense, the original Naruto is already dead, and he was killed by me, so there is no enmity between us. Ninetales thought for a moment, hesitated slightly, and then continued to ask, what about my resentment towards Woodleaf? I wish I could kill everyone in Woodleaf. Naruto said indifferently, this has nothing to do with me. In the eyes of the Woodleaf villagers, I'm a fox demon. Did you see the way the person who walked past me looked at me? That gaze was full of resentment. I don't think I have a reason to stand in the position of someone who resents me. Ninetales lowered his voice. Would you be willing to destroy the Woodleaf if I asked you to? Naruto replied seriously. If all my skills were taught by you, then your will is naturally my will. I have no reason to refuse, but I have a condition. Ninetales grinned, revealing his white teeth. Interesting. Tell me about it. Naruto. It's a very simple condition. I can't kill those who agree with and support me. Although Lord Ninetales wants to take revenge on Woodleaf, you wouldn't be ashamed to be associated with such an ungrateful person, right? Therefore, under the current circumstances, Iruka and Hinata cannot be killed. Master Ninetales, do you agree with what I said? Ninetales pondered for a moment. What you said is interesting. Ungrateful people are indeed more disgusting. But if the entire Woodleaf supports you, doesn't that mean you can't kill anyone? Naruto said self-deprecatingly. Lord Ninetales, you must be joking. Do you think that's possible? Would the Woodleaf support me? Ninetales thought for a moment and felt that it was indeed impossible. In the past few years when he was lodging in Naruto's body, he had seen the cold eyes of the people around Naruto. While Ninetales was thinking, Naruto's heart was also filled with nervousness. Naruto had blurted out the idea of becoming Ninetales' disciple on a whim. But when he thought about it carefully, it didn't seem like there was anything wrong with it. In short, he had to fool Ninetales first. If Ninetales really wanted him to kill someone now, then he would use the excuse that he wasn't strong enough, that he would be exposed, and so on as an excuse. For Naruto, who lacked integrity, this kind of thing was not worth mentioning. Naruto urged tentatively, then Lord Ninetales, are you willing to accept me as your disciple? Ninetales hesitated for a moment and said happily, since you've said so, why not? Naruto climbed up the pole and asked respectfully, then may I know your name? Should I tell this little guy my real name? Ninetales was a little hesitant, but when he thought about it, it was more annoying to be called Ninetales all day long, so he said, 9 llamas. Naruto said happily, then I'll call you Teacher 9 llamas from now on. Teacher 9 llamas? Ninetales chewed on it for a long time. He found it interesting and said self-deprecatingly, I didn't expect to have a disciple, but you don't seem to have told me your name. Naruto smiled brightly and said, my name is Naruto. Ninetales' expression froze. Which bastard just said that I'm not Naruto? Ninetales' expression darkened. Little brat, are you playing with me? When Ninetales was angry, even through the seal, Naruto could feel the irritable chakra. Naruto quickly explained, Teacher 9 llamas, you've misunderstood me. Although I'm not the real Naruto, my soul has come to this body, which means that the original me is dead, so I'm Naruto. Of course, Naruto is just a name. That sounded very reasonable, Naruto. If Teacher 9 llamas doesn't like the name Naruto, then you can call me whatever you want in the future. Little Ming kid brat as long as Teacher 9 llamas likes it. Ninetales. Naruto changed the topic. Teacher 9 llamas, Since you've accepted me as your disciple, how do you think I should improve my strength now? They've entered into a master-disciple relationship just like that? Ninetail's mouth couldn't help but twitch. There was an inexplicable sense of strangeness. But after thinking about it for a while, he didn't notice anything wrong. Ninetails. Human cultivation is essentially the cultivation of chakra. Chakra is a fusion of spiritual power and the power extracted from the cells in the body. So the most basic cultivation direction is to improve spiritual power and strengthen the body. Spiritual power comes from the soul. And after devouring Naruto, your soul is far higher than that of ordinary people. In terms of physique, because you inherited the bloodline of the Uzumaki clan, you also have great potential. In other words, your current chakra is far beyond that of ordinary people, so what you should do is to turn this chakra into strength. As expected of Ninetails, who has lived for who knows how many years, just a few casual words made Naruto feel enlightened. Naruto. So what I need to do now is to learn powerful ninjutsu? Ninetails. You can say that, didn't you memorize all the ninjutsu on that scroll? The Hashimen Tanku on it is very suitable for you. Hashimen Tanku? Isn't that a death-seeking forbidden technique? Naruto. Teacher Nine Lamas, did I hear wrong? You want me to learn the Hashimen Tanku? If I remember correctly, the Hashimen Tanku is a ninjutsu that burns one's life. Ninetails. The first 4 gates of the Hashimen Tanku are within the safe range. Only the 5th gate will cause permanent damage to the body. Naruto's consciousness moved and entered the memory of the forbidden technique scroll. The practice of the Hashimen Tanku was surprisingly simple. It could be summarized in 4 words: body refining. Open the door. As long as the physical strength meets the requirements, chakra can be used to attack the designated acupoints to open the door. The physical strength requirements were also very simple. The first gate of the Hashimen Tanku requires the body to be able to bear 500 kilograms of weight. The second gate of the Hashimen Tanku requires the body to be able to bear 750 kilograms of weight. The third gate of the Hashimen Tanku requires the body to be able to bear 1,000 kilograms of weight. The fourth gate of the Hashimen Tanku requires the body to be able to bear 1,500 kilograms of weight. In addition, there was a meridian map that recorded the location of the 8 gates. Note: as long as the corresponding conditions are met, the door can be opened without harming the body. In addition, if the body does not meet the corresponding requirements, the door can be opened with the will, but it will cause corresponding damage to the body. Simple? It looked simple. But the first gate required the body to bear 500 kilograms of weight. Was that something a human could achieve? And the third gate? 1,000 kilograms, that was a ton. Alright. No wonder Shaoli carried such a terrifying weight every day. This technique was simply not for a human to practice. Naruto. Nine Lamas Sensei, how long do you think it will take for me to open the first gate? Ninetails. The first gate, it won't take long. My chakra can increase your recovery. If you practice seriously, you should be able to open it in a month, right? Increasing his strength to 500 kilograms in a month. What kind of terrifying training would that be? Naruto shuddered just thinking about it. Naruto. Can't I learn other ninjutsu? For example, Flying Thunder God technique. I remember that the Flying Thunder God technique also requires a huge amount of chakra. I just happen to meet this requirement. Ninetails. The amount of chakra is just one aspect. The most important thing for the Flying Thunder God technique is to have the Yin attribute chakra's nature change talent. Only when you can condense chakra into chakra's mark can you be considered to have started. Kid, put your hand on my chakra. Let me see your chakra's inclination. Ninetails' chakra overflowed from the cage. The bubbling chakra was like boiling magma. Just a small part of it overflowed was enough to make people tremble. Naruto gritted his teeth and put his hand on chakra. It felt like putting his hand into a pot of oil. Incomparable pain. Ninetails. Strange, your soul is different from ordinary people. It only has the wind attribute, chakra's nature change. Wait. Your soul can actually swallow me. Your soul has changed. Other than the wind attribute, It has also fused with my yang attribute. What kind of freak are you? Chapter 12. My soul can actually devour Ninetales' soul? Naruto couldn't help but be shocked when he heard Ninetales' words. But what shocked him even more was that Ninetales didn't retract his chakra and allowed him to devour it. He kept muttering to himself that this was interesting. Is Ninetales crazy? As Ninetales' chakra continued to pour in, Naruto's body was in extreme pain, as if his body was on fire. But fortunately, this state came and went quickly. Just as Naruto suspected that he was going to die, it finally ended. Naruto, what happened just now? Ninetales, you devoured some of my soul power and obtained the yang attribute, but at the same time, half of your soul power was consumed when you fused with the new attribute. Obtained the yang attribute? Half of my soul power was consumed? The former sounded like a good thing, but if half of my soul power was consumed, wouldn't my spiritual power weaken as well? Then, my memory won't return to its original state, right? Naruto was shocked and tried to recall the ninjutsu on the Forbidden Technique scroll. When his eye consciousness successfully entered the memory of the third Naruto study, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at the Forbidden Technique scroll, the ninjutsu on it were all there. But there was also a difference. Naruto found that the surrounding scene was a little blurry. Some places that were clear in the past were starting to become blurry. Maybe if I consume more soul power, this place will collapse? I have to hurry up and memorize all the ninjutsu on the Forbidden Technique scroll. The existence of a memory was different from actually remembering something. Actually remembering something was in the cerebral cortex, which could be known by just thinking about it. This memory was more like a spiritual space. It existed in the soul. If he wanted to obtain the information inside, he had to enter and read it. This was Naruto's guess about his special memory. His consciousness withdrew from the memory of the third Naruto study and returned to the space where Ninetales was sealed. Naruto was still a little puzzled about the newly obtained yang attribute. He then asked Ninetales, "You obtained the yang attribute? Are you talking about Chakra's nature change?" Ninetales, "Yeah. Didn't Chakra's nature change through bloodline inheritance?" Ninetales, "Who said that? Isn't the bloodline limit based on bloodline?" Ninetales, "Your understanding is a little one-sided. Let me ask you, do I have blood?" Naruto was stunned for a moment before he came to a realization. Ninetales didn't even have a body, so how could he have a bloodline? Naruto asked, "So Chakra's nature change is determined by her soul?" Ninetales said, "Yes, the soul. You can also say that it's a spiritual imprint. Of course, for humans, it's not a problem to say that it's a bloodline inheritance because the bloodline contains soul power. If that's the case, then with the yang attribute Chakra's nature change, can I learn medical ninjutsu?" Ninetales, "Of course, but I don't know medical ninjutsu. If you want to learn, you'll have to find a way yourself. In addition, you have to keep cultivating. Just like how you can't complete the wind attribute Chakra's nature change, even though you have the wind attribute Chakra's nature change talent." Naruto nodded. Wind attribute. It should be the Chakra's nature change obtained after devouring Naruto's soul. But why did his soul power increase when he fused with Naruto, but his soul power decreased when he fused with Ninetales' yang attribute? Ninetales, is there anything else you don't understand? You can ask me. As your teacher, I can answer your questions. Ninetales was actually quite invested in his identity as a teacher. This was a good thing. A very good thing. In fact, taking Ninetales as a teacher was just an experiment on the spur of the moment for Naruto. He didn't expect Ninetales to agree. Since Ninetales was so proactive, Naruto didn't hold back and directly asked the question in his heart. Ninetales, is the wind attribute because you devoured Naruto? That's possible. Maybe it's because one devoured the soul, and the other was soul power. This was also an explanation, Ninetales. At this stage, we can only make this guess. If we encounter similar situations in the future, we can further confirm it. Any other questions? Naruto, no. Ninetales' mouth cracked open, revealing white teeth. Naruto actually saw a trace of a smile on this fox's face. Ninetales. Naruto, do you want to learn the Flying Thunder God technique? Naruto was stunned and nodded. But I don't have the Yin attribute. Damn. Ninetales was waiting for him here. Ghoul Seal. The other half of Ninetales. At the mention of the Yin attribute chakra, Naruto instantly understood. Ninetales. Then there's a good opportunity now. The half of my body sealed by Ghoul Seal is of the Yin attribute. If you can remove the Ghoul Seal, then you can obtain the Yin attribute chakra talent from the other half of me. Then you can learn the Flying Thunder God technique. It was a blatant temptation. Naruto also admitted that this was a good idea, but, with the current strength of his body, it was obvious that he couldn't bear a complete 9 tails. Naruto. Teacher 9 Llamas, I can tell you how to remove the technique, but after you're rescued, what are you going to do with the other half of you? Ninetales. Of course I'm going to fuse with you. That way I'll become stronger. And at the same time, I'll be able to help you more. Naruto. Let's not talk about whether or not my body can bear a complete teacher. If I want you to fuse with me, I'll have to first remove the seal on my body, right? Ninetales. Are you afraid that I'll take the opportunity to take over your body? Naruto. That's just one aspect. There's another aspect that you haven't considered, which is that I can't open this seal right now. Ninetales. As long as you want to, you can open it. Didn't you obtain the method to remove the 4 symbols seal not long ago? Naruto. But, Naruto didn't want to talk about this at first, but since it had come to this point, then he might as well say it. He hoped that Ninetales wouldn't be angry. Naruto. But the seal on my body isn't the 4 symbols seal. Not the 4 symbols seal? Ninetales. That's impossible. I'm in the seal. The structure of this space is set up by the 4 symbols seal. Naruto lifted his clothes and revealed the seal on his stomach. Naruto. It really isn't the 4 symbols seal, but an 8 trigram seal formed by the combination of 2 4 symbols seals. 8 trigram seal? An 8 trigram seal formed by the combination of 2 4 symbols seals? Ninetales looked at Naruto's abdomen. Although the seal was similar to the 4 symbols seal, it was more complicated. Obviously, Naruto wasn't lying. Hope had just risen, but it turned into disappointment. Ninetales was angry. It was no longer as easy to talk to as before. The hair on its body stood up, and chakra began to boil like lava. At this moment, Naruto seemed to understand why it was so easy to talk to. Because it saw hope in breaking out of its cage. Because it was in a good mood. And now, at the moment when hope collapsed, it showed its true form. Chapter 13. Should I learn the Hashiman Tanku? After Ninetales became angry, Naruto's consciousness withdrew from the sealed space of Ninetales. He went to the ninja shop to look at the price of the ninja equipment. An ordinary 10 caddy iron sandbag should be good for beginners, and the price wasn't too expensive, only 200 taels per pair. The better one was a heavy metal block, 10 caddies per piece, and the weight could be adjusted by changing the quantity, so 200 taels per piece. What's even better is that Naruto is interested in a small and terrifying weight, a metal block with a special characteristic written on it. According to the store manager, this kind of metal block with roots written on it could be changed by injecting chakra into it. But the price, one piece, was over 1,000 taels. In the current situation, Naruto couldn't even afford one piece, so he could only pin his hopes on the inheritance in the future. After looking at the ninja equipment, Naruto found the copy scroll that Hinata gave him. The price was 50,000 taels. There was a saying that it was hard to enjoy a beauty's favor. Hinata was the eldest daughter of the main family, but Naruto believed that even the eldest daughter of the main family couldn't spend money casually. This money was probably saved by Hinata bit by bit since she was young. The store manager saw Naruto staring at the scroll motionlessly, so he asked, "You like this scroll?" Naruto came back to his senses. No, only a fool would buy this scroll. The store manager was choked by this sentence. Naruto. Uncle, what do you think I should give a girl in return? Store manager. That depends on what kind of girl she is. If she's an ordinary girl, I'll give her some flowers or something. If she's a ninja, I'll give her this. Saying this, the uncle took a vest from the shelf. Naruto's face darkened. Underwear? Wouldn't he be beaten to death if he gave a girl underwear? The store manager waved his hand. This isn't ordinary underwear. It's an extremely precious soft armor with amazing defense, dozens of times stronger than the standard equipment issued by Woodleaf. Sounds good, Naruto. How much? Manager. The price is fair. Only 6.90. 6 nines? 999,999? Adding one tael would be 1,000,000 taels of silver. The store manager smiled. Naruto. Well, wait until I have money. Borrowing 50,000 to return 1,000,000 was obviously not worth it, but Naruto felt that it was worth it for Hinata. Of course, whether or not he could act pretentiously depended on how much money the inheritance was. Then Naruto looked at the ninja sword. The reason why Naruto wanted to practice the Hashimen Tanku was because he wanted to practice the Hashimen Tanku. As for the sword, it was because he didn't want to waste the Woodleaf swordsmanship in the Forbidden Technique scroll. However, compared to other ninja weapons, the price of a ninja sword is extremely high. It was a standard ninja sword, the same model as the Woodleaf Umbu. One sword cost 500,000 taels. If it was even better, it would be marked with special materials, and was made by a certain master. The price would immediately increase several times, directly jumping over 1,000,000 taels to 10,000,000 taels. Naruto's eyes fell on the highest sword, which was priced at 50,000,000 taels. At this time, there weren't many people in the ninja store. The store manager had nothing to do, so he recommended to Naruto, "If you want a sword, listen to me and don't buy these. Look here." The uncle pointed to the side. It was written there that it was custom-made. Manager. As long as you have money for the materials and a little crafting fee, I can guarantee that you will have an excellent sword for 500,000 taels. Naruto, custom-made? Shouldn't custom-made be more expensive? Without waiting for the store manager to answer, Naruto knew the reason. It was because there was a mark on the list, personally made by the store manager. It seemed that this store manager was an unknown swordsmith. Naruto. Well, when I pass the genin exam, I will ask you to make one. The store manager suddenly became excited. Are you serious? That doesn't sound too reliable, so he added, as long as the sword is good, I will pay. The implication was that if the sword was too bad, he wouldn't want it. The store manager smiled. I promise you will be satisfied. After looking at the ninja swords, Naruto left. After Naruto left, the store manager bowed to the most expensive sword. Aoda-san, finally someone asked me to make a sword. This time, I will make a sword that will satisfy the customer. If Naruto saw this scene, he wouldn't even think about it. He'd rather buy a standard saber. After leaving the ninja store, Naruto met a person. Sasuke, who had no parents like him. Naruto walked to Sasuke the next day at the ninja school. When Naruto walked into the ninja school, he naturally attracted a wave of attention. Look, it's that guy who squatted. I heard that he has been repeating for 2 years. This year is the 3rd year. TSK, if I were him, I would take the initiative to quit school. What a disgrace. Ha, that guy seems to have a wound on his face? What's so strange about that? Most likely he was taught a lesson. All kinds of discussions were very loud, and there was no intention to avoid it. Even if Naruto was prepared to not lower himself to the level of these people, he couldn't help but feel a little irritated. In addition, Naruto almost didn't sleep last night to memorize the Forbidden Technique scroll. The lack of sleep made his mood worse. He glanced at those guys who had nothing to do and were gossiping. Who are these people? Naruto didn't remember. He didn't see any acquaintances. It should be a group of passers-by. The thought of teaching these people a lesson just rose up, disappeared. He went straight to the teaching building. The discussion behind him continued. Did that guy just stare at us? Forget it, it's time for class. I will teach him a lesson after school. Teach me a lesson. I'm looking forward to it. But speaking of the wound on his face, walking into the classroom, Naruto looked around and quickly found someone with the same wound as him. Sasuke. Naruto. Morning. Naruto walked in front of Sasuke. Sasuke glanced at Naruto and coldly replied, "Morning." This morning was like a bolt from the blue for the other people in the classroom. When did these two people have such a good relationship? Also, didn't Naruto fail the graduation exam? What is he doing here? This question was finally asked when Sakura Haruno walked into the classroom. Sakura Haruno. Naruto? Why are you here? Naruto smiled and said, "Because I passed the graduation exam." Towards Sakura Haruno, Naruto still had a trace of guilt in his heart. Sakura Haruno liked Sasuke. This was something that almost the entire ninja school knew. And this time, according to the development of the original world, Sakura Haruno and Sasuke would be in the same class. Sakura Haruno. You also passed the exam? Naruto kindly replied. Yes, it was a makeup exam and I passed. Naruto-kun. Hinata walked in. Naruto waved his hand and asked Hinata to come over and sit down. Sigh. Guilt. Would Sakura Haruno still be with Sasuke? It felt strange. Not long after, Iruka walked in. He congratulated Naruto on passing the graduation exam. Then it was time to call out the groups. Iruka. Next, the students whose names I call out will sit together. Hinata, Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke. Sure enough, as Naruto guessed, Hinata and Sakura Haruno were swapped. Hinata. Naruto-kun. Happiness came so suddenly that Hinata's heart was filled with disbelief. Sasuke glanced at Naruto. Yesterday, Naruto told him about the class situation. Now it was confirmed. Then, is it true that there will be a person with the Sharingan as their leader? Chapter 14. Wait, continue to wait. 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 Everyone in the room was taken away in batches. Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata sat together and continued to wait. Naruto knew that Kakashi would be late. But, what's with being late for a few hours? Normally, being late for more than 10 minutes would be considered long. Finally, when the three of them were a little impatient, the door finally opened. He had grayish-white silver hair, a forehead protector that covered one of his eyes, and a mask. The person who came was Kakashi Hatake. Sasuke raised his head and looked at this person seriously. Is this the person? Thinking about Naruto's introduction yesterday, Sasuke carefully looked at the covered eye. Is there an eye that looks like mine? While Sasuke began to pay attention to Kakashi, Naruto was also carefully looking at him. In a sense, this was the first time Naruto saw Kakashi. Kakashi? Sorry, seems like I'm a little late. Kakashi's gaze drifted over the three people. Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Hinata. My class seems to be a bit unusual. After Kakashi arrived, the three of them left the classroom and found an empty space. Kakashi. Let's get to know each other and introduce ourselves. Hinata. Excuse me. What do you want to introduce? Kakashi. For example. What is your name? What do you like? What do you like? What are your hobbies? What are your dreams, etc.? So who's first? Hinata answered first. Just when Kakashi wanted to let Hinata introduce first, Sasuke suggested, Sensei should introduce first. With what Naruto told him yesterday, he was full of curiosity about the person in front of him. But Kakashi. Oh, me? My name is Kakashi Hatake, and I keep my likes and dislikes a secret. Speaking of dreams, I don't think there's much to it. As for interests, I have quite a lot. Sasuke. Naruto quietly enjoyed Sasuke's shit-eating gaze. Do you want to know more about Kakashi? Why don't you ask me instead of him? Of course you have to pay me. Get me a drink or something. Kakashi said, It's your turn now. Start from the right. On the right was Hinata. Hinata. My name is Hinata. I'm usually a little clumsy, so please forgive me. I like. She wanted to say Naruto, but she was too shy in front of so many people. What I like is the embossed flowers. What I hate. She thought of practicing boxing, but as a member of the Hyuga clan, how could she say those words? I don't think so. My dream has already come true. I'm interested in embossing. Kakashi. She seems to be the same as me. She didn't say anything other than her name. Am I leading a bad example? The second Naruto. Naruto. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like to practice. What I hate is trouble. My dream is to become stronger. My interest is to practice. The third Sasuke. Name is Sasuke Uchiha. No hobbies, no dislikes, no dreams, no interests. Naruto. Pfft. Naruto burst out laughing. Please forgive him. Because Sasuke's answer was completely different from the one in the original world. It was probably because he was influenced by me and became interested in Kakashi, but Kakashi didn't tell me anything about me, so he wanted to take revenge. That should be it. Kakashi. Very good. I'm starting to hate you guys. Although the responsibility may be due to me leading a bad example, but these students actually learned from me and acted cool. I can't forgive them. Kakashi. Let's end the self-introduction here. We will start the mission tomorrow. Only the four of us will carry out the mission. Mission? Sasuke was puzzled, because yesterday Naruto said there would be an assessment. So he asked, what kind of mission? Kakashi. Wilderness survival exercise. Kakashi's eyes gradually became serious. Your opponent is me, and this is not an ordinary survival exercise. Hearing this, Sasuke understood. It was indeed the same as what Naruto said yesterday. It seemed that the information this guy said was still credible. Kakashi. Tomorrow's survival exercise is not an ordinary survival exercise. Of the 27 candidates who successfully graduate this time, only 9 will pass the exam in the end. In other words, this exam is extremely difficult, and the elimination rate is more than 66%. Kakashi. Naruto, you don't have a forehead protector, right? When Kakashi said this, Naruto remembered that the forehead protector that Sandaime promised him didn't seem to be in his hands yet. Naruto. Yes, I will ask Sandaime Naruto-sama for one later. Kakashi. You don't have to ask Sandaime Naruto-sama. Sandaime Naruto-sama gave the task of giving you a forehead protector to me. Kakashi said as he took out his ninja gear pocket. Well, the first thing he took out was Intimate Paradise. Then he flipped to the forehead protector. Kakashi held it in his hand and shook it. If you want to get this forehead protector, you have to show your strength tomorrow. Naruto. Kakashi. Wear your ninja gear tomorrow, and it's best not to eat breakfast, otherwise you will vomit. Then he took out 3 pieces of paper and handed them to the 3 of them. Kakashi. I've written down the details, please don't be late. Okay, we're dismissed for today. That's it. Then what should I do next? Sandaime didn't give me any money. Should I ask him to pay the debt? Forget it, I won't provoke Sandaime Naruto's nerves. Sometimes it's not good to take the initiative. Naruto. How about the 3 of us eat together? Sasuke. No need. Sasuke got up and was about to leave. Naruto. Don't be in such a hurry to leave. Let's talk about tomorrow's survival game. Kakashi. Sensei said that our opponent is him. I think he means for the 3 of us to work together. Sasuke stopped. Work together? Naruto. You can't even beat me. You don't think you can beat a Jonin, right? Sasuke's eyelids twitched. I can't beat you. Naruto. Don't get too excited, it's just a metaphor. Sasuke. Hinata. Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun fought? Naruto. It was just a friendly exchange of pointers. Well, Naruto went over to Sasuke after he saw him yesterday. He greeted him warmly, but was ruthlessly ignored. Then they picked a fight, fought and exchanged information. Naruto. How about this? Let's find a place to reintroduce ourselves. As for hobbies and dreams, let's not talk about bullshit. Let's talk about what we're good at, and then we'll have a simple exchange of pointers and come up with a few tactics. Otherwise, if we don't pass tomorrow's exam and are sent back to school, I think that would be very embarrassing, right? Sasuke pondered for a moment and nodded. He absolutely wouldn't allow himself to be sent back to the ninja school if he didn't pass. His goal wasn't as simple as being a genin. However, just as they were about to leave, a few dumbfounded students came over. Naruto, you're hiding here, we thought you ran away. Sasuke looked at Naruto. They're looking for you? Naruto blinked. Who are these people? The thickest of the students, a fatty, shouted. You were glaring at us in the morning? In the morning? Ah. I remember. It's those guys who gossiped behind my back. No, to be precise, those guys who openly gossiped. I didn't expect them to really come looking for me. Their courage is really commendable. Naruto didn't even want to talk nonsense. He directly used the Shadow Clone Jutsu, creating 5 clones and quickly finished the battle. Naruto introduced to Hinata and Sasuke. This is the ninjutsu I'm currently good at. Sasuke's mouth twitched as he recalled some unbearable memories from yesterday. Naruto's everywhere. Chapter 15. In the dark, in the shadow of a house with its back to the sun, Kakashi squatted there, rubbing his chin and watching the little guys leave. Hobbies and dreams bullshit? TSK, it seems a bit interesting. Should I go take a look? He thought about it. Forget it, let's leave a surprise for tomorrow. He reached into his ninja bag and took out Intimate Paradise. Besides, reading is more interesting. Kakashi picked up the book and read as he walked. As for the 5 or 6 students who were beaten up on the ground, he didn't even look at them. In this world where killing was a common occurrence, fighting was just an appetizer to a boring life. Wood Leaf Ninja Village, in a dense forest near the ninja school. Naruto, at present, the ninjutsu I'm good at is the Shadow Clone Jutsu. With that said, Naruto made a hand seal, and 10 clones appeared. Then he continued. This jutsu can be used for investigation, information transmission, and to participate in battle. On the basis of ensuring effective attack power, the maximum number of clones is 800. Any more than that will reduce combat power and lose attack power. 800 was a conservative estimate because half of his soul power was consumed when he fused his soul with the yang attribute. Otherwise it would be much more. Thinking of the sudden loss of half of his soul power, Naruto felt a burst of pain in his liver. Hinata, 800. So many? Are these clones all physical clones? Naruto, well, Hinata, you can use Byakugan to observe. If I distribute chakra evenly among each clone, even Byakugan won't be able to see anything. Hinata used Byakugan. I can't see the difference between the main body and the clones. The clones also have meridians? Naruto, well, this is the only ninjutsu I can use. Apart from that, I'm also good at transformation and substitution. In total, I know these 3 ninjutsu. I know I'm still weak with this alone, so I'll work hard to become stronger. Naruto didn't say anything. If seduction jutsu was considered a ninjutsu, then he could add 2 more. Seduction technique, multiple shadow clone technique, and harem technique. Guagua girl, huh? Wait a minute. The combination of multiple shadow clone and shapeshift, multiple shadow clones were physical clones, so if the result of the transformation was a naked woman, could he really become a woman? After all, the doppelganger was created by chakra, and it had a real body structure. Naruto's skill tree was a little crooked. The taboo word ZJ popped up in his mind. Shame on your own. I can't think about it anymore. Naruto shook his head to get rid of the images in his mind. Hinata, Naruto-kun is already very powerful. Naruto waved his hand. Next, Hinata, introduce yourself. Hinata. My dojutsu Byakugan, when activated, has a 360-degree field of vision with almost no blind spots. If I observe a direction alone, I can detect the enemy within a 1-kilometer range. At the same time, I can see through to a certain extent and see the flow of chakra in the human body. Combined with the Hyuga clan's unique taijutsu and gentle fist attack, I can seal the enemy's acupuncture points and interrupt the enemy's ninjutsu. Well, currently, I'm practicing the family heirloom 8 trigrams 64 palms, but I haven't mastered it yet. Naruto's gaze fell on Sasuke, which meant it was his turn. Sasuke hesitated for a moment, giving all of his strength to Chinrua. But when he thought that he and Naruto had already used most of their abilities yesterday, he didn't hide it. I'm good at taijutsu and ninjutsu control. I've opened the Sharingan, but it's only 1 tomo, which can play some auxiliary role, but it's much weaker than the Byakugan. I'm only at the beginner level in Genjutsu. I can do a little mental interference. In addition, I know a little bit of Katon. The most powerful ninjutsu in Katon is the Great Fireball Jutsu. Hinata, Sasuke-kun is so powerful. Sasuke. It's so, not as good as your Byakugan. Naruto. Stop, you two are very strong. I'm the weakest, so don't provoke me. Next, let's spar with each other and feel each other's abilities. Draw lots or choose at will. Sasuke. I want to challenge the Hyuga clan's unique taijutsu and dojutsu. Naruto looked at Hinata. Hinata? No problem, it's just that I'm weak. I'll disappoint you when the time comes. Naruto. Hinata, come on, believe in yourself, you're not weak at all. Hinata clenched her small fist. Yeah. Sasuke and Hinata fought barehanded. Hinata's defense with the Byakugan wasn't bad, but she didn't take the initiative to attack. No, not a bit, but she never took the initiative to attack. Naruto saw this in his eyes and began to ponder. With the Hyuga clan's bloodline and taijutsu inheritance, Hinata couldn't be weak. The only problem was her personality. He had to find a way to make Hinata confident. Although the gentle and weak Hinata was cute, it made him want to protect her more. But this wasn't a peaceful era, and there was no civilian job option, so it was necessary to become stronger. Otherwise, if there was an accident in the future, he would regret it for the rest of his life. After a few minutes of fighting, Sasuke stopped. Naruto asked Sasuke, "How do you feel?" Sasuke's evaluation was that he never knew how to be gentle with girls. Wasted a pair of good eyes. Hinata bit her lip and lowered her head. Naruto. Tisk, Hinata is kind and can't bear to hurt you, otherwise you would have been beaten to the ground. Sasuke. Naruto. Why don't we try again? Hinata, wait, I'll help you vent your anger. Hinata raised her head. Naruto-kun. Naruto. Watch carefully, you have to be aggressive when fighting. Multiple shadow clone technique. Boom. Naruto appeared everywhere, and there were definitely no less than 400 of them. That momentum. Magnificent. All the Naruto. Tremble. Stupid human. Then Sasuke and a large group of Naruto fought. Naruto's clones were destroyed one after another, but their momentum didn't decrease at all. Like a flash flood, they launched an overwhelming attack on Sasuke. Even Hinata, who was watching from the side, couldn't help but feel pained. When the battle between Sasuke and Naruto ended, both of them were lying on the ground with bruises all over their faces. Hinata ran over. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, are you okay? Naruto. I'm fine, but my fighting posture is a bit ugly. I'll learn some cool moves in the future. Hinata. Do you need me to send you to the hospital? Naruto. I don't need it, you can ask Sasuke. Sasuke replied coolly, no need. Naruto. Let me lie down for a while, and then we can start planning our strategy for tomorrow. Well, my idea is, Hinata has a large range of vision, but she doesn't know how to attack, so she'll be responsible for scouting and locking onto Kakashi's position. I have too many clones to use, so I can find some time to harass him. If necessary, I'll use the human wave tactic to create some opportunities. Sasuke's attack is the strongest, so he can use ninja tools to harass him, and he'll be responsible for the final blow. Naruto. How do you feel? Sasuke. I have no problem giving him the last blow, but if Kakashi is really as powerful as you told me yesterday, before I launched the attack, if Hinata can seal the opponent's acupoints, I think it will work. Naruto turned to Hinata. What do you think, Hinata? Hinata, I'll work hard. Naruto. Well, this strategy is starting to take shape, but it would be better if you could set up a trap or something. Speaking of which, do you know how to set up traps? Hinata. No, Sasuke. A little. Naruto. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Didn't Kakashi give us the meeting point on the paper? Let's go set up the trap first. Hinata. Sasuke. Okay. Kakashi, who was reading Intimate Paradise at home, suddenly sneezed. Kakashi. Then he continued to focus on reading the book. Naruto. By the way, that guy said he won't let us eat breakfast. Don't listen to him. I think the punishment for failure will be not letting us eat lunch. Sasuke. Hinata. Chapter 16. The next day, At the agreed meeting place, Kakashi was late again. Kakashi. Yo! Good morning, everyone. The smile on Naruto's face was as bright as the sun. Good morning. Sasuke glanced at the time and didn't say anything. Hinata didn't dare to look at Kakashi's eyes because she felt guilty, so she was looking at her toes. She said weakly, Good morning. Kakashi took out an alarm clock. I set this alarm at 12 o'clock. I have 2 bells here. Your mission is to snatch them before noon. Kakashi. Those who can't snatch the bells within the stipulated time are not qualified to eat lunch. And they will be tied there, watching us eat lunch. The 3 of them looked at Kakashi's line of sight. There were 3 wooden stakes there. Then they remembered what Naruto said yesterday. That guy said he won't let us eat breakfast. Don't listen to him. I think the punishment for failure will be not letting us eat lunch. He guessed it? Well, Naruto wouldn't say that he already knew his plan. Ding ding ding. Kakashi shook the bell in his hand. Snatching 1 bell will pass, but there are only 2 bells in total. Someone will definitely be tied to the logs. Also, he will be eliminated because of the failure of the mission. In other words, at least 1 person will have to return to school. Someone will be eliminated? Didn't Naruto say that it was a team battle? Sasuke pondered for a moment, wondering who he should listen to. So far, Naruto's words were more credible, but he was still a teacher. Hinata also looked at Naruto with some worry. Naruto smiled. Kakashi. Also, the reason I asked you to bring ninja tools is so that you can use them. If you don't have the determination to kill me, you won't be able to snatch the bells. Naruto. Sensei Kakashi, can I use the detonation talisman? Kakashi asked. You prepared a detonation talisman? Interesting. It seems that you are prepared to kill me. I'm starting to like you. Naruto. Can I? It doesn't matter if you can't. Kakashi. Sure. Kakashi. Alright, do you understand? Alright then. Now let the drill begin. Kakashi's figure left. The 3 of them looked at each other and left in 3 different directions. Naruto climbed up a tall tree and arrived at point A. Location A was the hiding place that the 3 of them had agreed upon. Naruto. I just don't know if Sasuke will follow the plan after listening to Kakashi's words. Well, let's go to Hinata first. Hinata should follow the plan. As long as we find Hinata, we can find Sasuke's location even if it changes. Multiple shadow clone technique. Of the 4 Naruto, 1 stayed behind and the other 3 left. One of them found Hinata's location, which was location B. Naruto. Determined Sasuke's location. Hinata nodded and activated Byakugan. Hinata. Location C. Naruto immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Naruto. Where's Kakashi? Hinata. Reading by the river. Naruto. Okay, you rest first. Leave his location to me. When he changes, I'll let you know. You can activate Byakugan to look for him. In the meantime, you can confirm it every 10 minutes. Then Naruto quietly went to Sasuke's location. Naruto. I'm glad you still trust me. Sasuke. For now. If it's really as he said, our relationship won't last long. Naruto. The premise is that we can get the bell, right? Locations A, B, and C were the initial locations of the 3 of them. Surrounding the locations A, B, and C, there were 5 letters at each point, which were the buried traps. Around A was DFGH. Around B was IJKLM. Around C was NOPQR. In addition, there were 7 random Easter eggs in the forest, STUVWXY. And the biggest trap, Z's location was in the middle of ABC. The above was the masterpiece that the 3 of them worked until the sun set yesterday. Naruto called it the 26 killing formation. Naruto. Then I'll lure him in. You have to find the right time and don't show mercy. Boom. Naruto's clone disappeared. At the same time, 8 Naruto suddenly jumped out of the river. They held kunai in their hands and stabbed at Kakashi. Kakashi raised his head in surprise. He was a little surprised. He remembered that when Naruto fought at school yesterday, he only had 5 clones. It seemed that he was holding back. But at the same time he divided chakra into 8 clones. It would also consume a lot of Chakra's energy. In this way, these clones wouldn't last more than 5 minutes, no 1 minute. A thought flashed through Kakashi's mind. At this moment, Naruto had already rushed over. Kakashi's gaze fell back to the book in his hand. At the same time, he kept dodging the attack according to the direction of the sound. However, at this moment, 5 Naruto suddenly appeared behind him. One of them directly hugged Kakashi. Danger! His heart suddenly felt a sense of danger. Kakashi looked at one of Naruto's clones in the distance, and instantly used the substitution jutsu. Boom! A loud sound rang out. The sound of a talisman explosion. It was a human bomb made by Naruto's clones. It was also the only ninjutsu that Naruto could think of at this stage that could increase the power of clones to the extreme. If Kakashi didn't allow him to use the self-destruct talisman, then he wouldn't have been able to use this move. Of course, after using this move, Naruto himself didn't feel good. The 50% pain that the clone transmitted back also made his body numb. Kakashi ran away from the first attack. But there was still a gain. Kakashi's newly bought book, Intimate Paradise, which he hadn't finished reading yet, was blown up. Kakashi stood in the distance, looking at the Intimate Paradise that was blown to pieces. The corner of Kakashi's mouth twitched. Naruto's voice came from the forest. Kakashi-sensei, I'm really sorry. I wanted to blow you up, but I didn't want to blow up your beloved book. Kakashi. Naruto. Kakashi-sensei, are you very angry now? Want to slap my butt? Then come and catch me? Our leader isn't a coward who only knows how to talk big, right? The muscles on Kakashi's face twitched. After Intimate Paradise was destroyed, his rage points began to rise bit by bit. Kakashi. Although the method is clumsy, you did succeed in angering me. Saying so, he stepped into the forest. As for punishment, spanking, that won't happen. I'll let you see the ultimate secret of Wood Leaf, 1,000 years of pain. On a big tree, Naruto looked at Kakashi, who was walking in the opposite direction, and exhaled. Phew, the first stage succeeded. Ninetales' voice came. You used the clone technique to become a human bomb. You little brat, you really know how to mess around. Naruto replied. I had no choice. But Sensei Nine Lamas, didn't you say that my body recovered faster than others because of your blessing? I don't think this move will cause me any harm, right? Ninetales. It won't cause any harm. On the contrary, it will benefit you. If you decide to cultivate the 8 inner hidden gates, blowing up your clone is also a good way to speed up your cultivation progress. There was such a benefit? Naruto's eyes lit up. Wait, what's with this masochistic state? Chapter 17. Kakashi entered the forest. Naruto stared closely from the tree, but then Kakashi disappeared from his sight. A voice suddenly came from behind him. I found you, despicable little guy. Kakashi made a hand seal. He wanted to leave an unforgettable memory for Naruto. Wood Leaf's ultimate mystery, 1,000 years of death. But just as he made a hand seal, a warning came again. There was a loud bang. It was the sound of a detonation talisman. The Naruto in front of Kakashi was still a clone, and it was also a self-destructing clone. At the moment of crisis, Kakashi blinked to avoid the explosion. But when he landed on the ground, there was nothing under his feet. A trap! For hands broke out of the ground and grabbed his ankles, dragging him down. There were 2 Naruto. Kakashi's body fell into the trap. The trap was triggered, and the steel wires around Kakashi suddenly tightened. The kunai was placed on Kakashi's neck. Naruto. Kakashi-sensei, you were careless. Boom. The tied-up Kakashi turned into a piece of wood. Substitution technique. The next moment, the scene in front of Naruto changed, and he found himself tied up in steel cables. Kakashi. Illusion technique, Naruto technique. But the next moment, that Naruto disappeared with a bang. It was still a clone. Naruto's voice came from all directions. Kakashi-sensei, you're really strong. I used all my skills, but I still couldn't do anything to you. Was he strong? High in the tree, Kakashi looked at the 3-meter diameter hole in the ground for a long time without saying anything. It was obvious that such a big trap wasn't just made. because this hole wasn't made by ninjutsu, but by a shovel. There were traces of this trap around. He regretted not rushing over yesterday. This trap was definitely set up yesterday. Kakashi, I hate you even more now. There was also Naruto's shadow clone. How many chakra did Naruto have? They had been fighting for more than 10 minutes now, but they hadn't even seen Naruto's main body. Kakashi, could it be that he has several times more chakra than me? That's impossible. At the same time, Naruto, Sasuke and Hinata reunited. Naruto, did you see that? Even after using 2 detonation talismans and triggering a trap, we still couldn't take him down. So don't have any scruples when fighting him. Just use your most ferocious means. Hinata, that's the most ferocious method, Naruto. Hinata, when you fight with him later, you're responsible for finding the right opportunity to keep an eye on him. Don't let him escape from our sight with substitution jutsu. I'll continue to harass him. If there's a chance, it's best to seal his acupuncture points, and then Sasuke will throw a big fireball at him. Naruto, agreed. Sasuke nodded. The two exchanged glances and looked at Hinata. Hinata. Okay, Naruto. This is related to whether or not you can become a genin. You can't be careless. Hinata, you have to be alert. Hinata nodded seriously. Okay. The three separated again. At this time, Naruto's shadow clones were talking nonsense from all directions, affecting Kakashi's judgment. A shuriken slashed across. Naruto's shadow clones exploded with a bang. For the first time, Kakashi felt that the shadow clone jutsu was a bit annoying. Let's start with Hinata. Kakashi remembered that Hinata was in the same class as Naruto. In other words, if he captured Hinata, it would be easy to deal with Naruto. Then he would end this boring game. Hinata's position. B of the A, B, C and C positions. It didn't take long for Kakashi to find Hinata. Genjutsu wouldn't work against Hinata, who had the Byakugan. Therefore, he wanted to test her physical abilities directly. Hinata. Kakashi-sensei? Hinata got into a fighting position. Kakashi quickly approached and blinked behind Hinata. But just as they were about to touch, Hinata exploded. The sound of an explosion was deafening. To be more precise, it was Naruto who had transformed into Hinata that exploded his shadow clone. 2 minutes ago. Just as Kakashi approached Hinata, Hinata used the Byakugan to witness Kakashi approaching her. Therefore, this was the tactic in front of him. There was a loud explosion, and Kakashi quickly dodged with the body flicker. Hinata. Kakashi-sensei. I'm here. In front of him, Hinata rushed out. Hinata. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Hinata knew the Shadow Clone Jutsu. A group of Hinata suddenly appeared in front of Kakashi, blocking his way, and then rushed over like a suicide squad, surrounding him. This tactic was clearly Naruto's style. Then the identity of these Hinata was unknown. This was the effect of Naruto using the Shadow Clone Jutsu and the Transformation Jutsu together. Behind Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, I'm sorry. As she spoke, she hit herself with a palm. The 64 palms of the 8 trigrams were activated. Although Hinata couldn't perform all 64 palms of the 8 trigrams, sealing acupuncture points wasn't a problem. Then another Hinata jumped up, landed on Kakashi's body and kicked him. The real Hinata was dragged far away by Naruto's shadow clone. Kakashi fell, and the net closed around him. Another Hinata appeared in front of him. She raised one hand in front of her mouth. Fire release. Grand Fireball Jutsu. This person was undoubtedly Sasuke. A huge fireball enveloped Kakashi, who was trapped in the net. Kakashi-sensei wouldn't die, would he? Hinata rolled her eyes, her heart filled with worry. The Kakashi and the flames disappeared with a bang. It was the Shadow Clone Jutsu. He failed. Hinata. Everyone be careful, that's a clone. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. Just a moment ago, they were still worried about whether or not their sensei would die. Now, they were worried about whether or not they would be wiped out. Asterisk clap. Clap. Asterisk 2 claps were heard from above. Hinata. Naruto-kun? Naruto. That's not me. The next moment, the clapping Naruto dispelled his transformation. revealing Kakashi's appearance. The three of them suddenly realized. Hinata finally understood why Kakashi was able to escape from her supercilious eyes. Kakashi's shadow clone attacked Hinata, while his real body transformed into Naruto. They failed. Were they going to be wiped out? Kakashi, you three pass. Hinata and Sasuke were slightly stunned by the huge difference in their mentality. Naruto, so we don't have to fight anymore? Kakashi, no need. Naruto, sigh, the biggest trap, the Z-Hell, hasn't been used yet. As he spoke, Naruto dispelled his clones. Kakashi's mouth twitched as he heard this. They wouldn't stop until they destroyed him. Kakashi appeared behind Naruto and grabbed Naruto. Kakashi, but because I only prepared 2 lunchboxes, someone has to be tied to the pillar and watch us eat. That person is you. Naruto, you're using your position to avenge your personal grudge. Asterisk ding. Asterisk at the moment when Naruto was captured, Sasuke beside him took the 2 bells as fast as he could. He then threw a bell to Hinata and smirked at Naruto. Chapter 18. Kakashi did as he said. Naruto was tied up in the middle of the 3 wooden stakes. It was tied up very tightly. Then he gave Hinata and Sasuke bento lunches. Kakashi, this morning's survival show ends here. Also, you 2 are not allowed to give Naruto anything to eat. Otherwise, you 2 will be disqualified. Kakashi then left. The tied up Naruto. Sasuke, I think the egg on your bento is not bad. I love fried eggs. It looks like it's medium well fried. Sasuke. Sasuke silently picked up the fried egg and took a bite. The medium well fried egg was tender and refreshing. Naruto. Hinata. Naruto-kun. How about you eat mine? Hinata pursed her lips and shyly picked up the fried egg on the bento for Naruto. In the dark, Kakashi didn't go far. Instead, he was observing the situation like a cat. Kakashi-ha? You're so brave, you actually ignored my warning. Kakashi was about to rush out and say something when he heard Naruto say, wait, my main body will be there soon. Then, the clone that was tied to the wooden stake disappeared with a bang. It was still a clone. Kakashi's mouth twitched. Then he saw Naruto run to Hinata's side in the forest. He looked up and opened his mouth like a silly bird waiting to be fed. Hinata and Sasuke were shocked when they saw this scene. Who would have thought that Naruto would leave a clone behind to pretend to be his main body when he announced the end of the competition? But that wasn't right. At that time, they clearly saw Naruto use the seal to remove all the clones. Could it be that Naruto was using his doppelganger to cast multiple shadows again? By using the shadow doppelganger technique to eliminate all the other doppelgangers. Only the doppelganger created by that doppelganger would be eliminated? When the fried egg entered his mouth, Naruto praised. It's delicious. Hinata's fried eggs are delicious. Kakashi. He was hesitating whether he should go out or not. Take this opportunity to tie Naruto's body to the wooden stake. This idea was like a flash flood that could not be stopped. Then, Kakashi disappeared from where he stood. The body blink technique approached. Ding-ling-ling. A bell was swinging in Naruto's hand. Naruto said, I have a bell now. Don't tie me to the stake again. Bell. Where did the bell come from? Sasuke reached into his pocket. Sasuke. For Naruto, who had been a pickpocket master for 5 or 6 years in his previous life, he definitely wasn't bragging. Kakashi. You. At this time, he should be celebrating the 3 of them passing the exam. But Kakashi suddenly felt a little unsatisfied. Should he have another round in the afternoon? Well, forget it. I'll buy another copy of Intimate Paradise in the afternoon. That's more important. Kakashi. After you finish eating, go to Naruto's building in the afternoon to fill out the ninja registration form. Kakashi took out a forehead protector from his backpack and threw it to Naruto. This is yours. Kakashi. But I have to say this first. In the future, you are not allowed to self-destruct your doppelganger. Naruto. I won't use it unless it's absolutely necessary. It hurts so much. I'm not stupid. Kakashi. F***ck. He swallowed the second half of his words. He even swallowed back the words he wanted to say. Ninjas needed to take photos and fill out a form. After filling out the form, Naruto met with the third Naruto. Naruto, congratulations on officially becoming a ninja. Kakashi told me about your performance. It was very good. Naruto, ahaha, I just played a little trick. It's nothing. I'm in urgent need of money right now. Naruto. What he meant was that he wanted the third Naruto to hurry up and take out the money he promised. Naruto's face darkened. He took out a bank card from his pocket. Yes, it was a bank card. Would Leaf had a bank. Naruto. Both of their money is in this card. It's a total of 8 million taels. 8 million taels? It sounded like a lot, but after completing several S-rank missions, it was far more than that. Moreover, it was the entire fortune of the fourth Naruto, a Jonin. From high to low, ninjas were divided into 4 levels: Kage, Jonin, Chunin, and Genin. Kage-level ninjas were the ones in charge of the village. They usually didn't participate in missions, but they were an important part of the village's upper management. They were responsible for delegating missions to the ninjas below. At the same time, missions were divided into 6 levels according to their difficulty, from S-rank to D-rank. Jonin can accept S-rank and A-rank missions. High risk meant high income. Missions that usually cost more than 1 million taels. Chunin can accept B-rank and C-rank missions. The income is still above average. Usually, it costs 150,000 taels to 1 million taels. Genin can accept C-rank and D-rank missions. Missions that cost 500 to 10,000 taels. Coupled with the monthly allowance from Genin to Jonin, the fourth Hokage and his wife only left him with 8 million ryo? Who would believe this if they told others about it? Anyway, Naruto didn't believe it. But since they gave him some money, he accepted it. It was better than nothing. 8 million taels was a huge sum of money for Naruto, who didn't have much money in his pocket. The third Naruto saw the dissatisfaction in Naruto's eyes. He explained. The fourth Naruto didn't leave much money. Most of it was saved by Kushina. Naruto. Well, I know. Naruto, well. As for the other relics, I'm still sorting them out. When I'm done, I'll send someone to send them to your house. Naruto nodded, bowed, and left Naruto's office. Hinata and Sasuke were waiting outside. Naruto put on a smile. Let's go, Kakashi's lunch is terrible. I'll treat you to a big meal. Sasuke. I'll pass. I'm going back to practice. I learned something today. Then he waved his hand. Naruto. Oh, see you tomorrow. It was great to be able to spend time with Hinata. Are they really going to eat? To be honest, Naruto wasn't hungry. Naruto. Hinata, is there anything you like? Hinata thought for a moment. Embossed flowers? Naruto. Besides that. In fact, Naruto wanted to see what else he could give besides the soft armor. Hinata. How about Naruto accompany me for a walk as a return gift? Obviously, Hinata wasn't stupid. Naruto shook his head. What kind of return gift is that? I'm the one who's taking advantage. Hinata covered her mouth and giggled. Naruto. Hinata, what are your measurements? Ha. Hinata's face turned red. Naruto quickly added. I want to give you some clothes. Hinata. The two of them went to the bank first, then walked to the ninja equipment store. Ding, ding. The moment they opened the door, the bell on the door rang. Naruto. Uncle. I'm here again. The uncle was a little unhappy. He thought he could forge the sword yesterday. His furnace was already hot, but he had to wait for a whole day. His forging soul. But when he saw the forehead protector on Naruto's head, his eyes lit up. You brought money today? Naruto. Yes, I'll have to trouble you with my sword. Chapter 19. Would it be okay to bring their date to the ninja store? Naruto had no experience with this and he didn't know where to go. Woodleaf didn't have an amusement park, so he could only give up. What should I do? Naruto was also in despair. Uncle. Well, tell me the price and I'll give you a list of materials to choose from. Naruto. What kind of materials can be used for 500,000 taels? Uncle. 500,000 taels. That's already a good sword. Except for the materials that can't be added to live steel and increase chakra's circulation rate. Everything else can be tried. Naruto. What is live steel? Uncle. It's a high-quality material used to forge swords. If the weapon is damaged, then in the process of killing the enemy, the weapon can be restored by absorbing the iron in the enemy's blood. Naruto's heart moved, and he thought of the beheading sword. Even if the beheading sword was broken, it could still absorb the enemy's blood to restore itself. And it seemed that he wasn't far from meeting Zabuza. It would only be a matter of 1 or 2 months, but the beheading sword obviously wasn't suitable for him. Naruto. That. Uncle, I want to ask, once live steel is used to forge weapons, can it still be refined? Uncle. Yes, most of the live steel on the market has been forged more than once. After all, live steel is too rare. And it's very rare to encounter a mine of live steel in nature. So if I get the beheading sword and smelt it, Naruto was tempted. He remembered the development of the original world. After Zabuza died, the sword seemed to have been placed in front of his grave. Later, it was obtained by Suigetsu, placing it in front of his grave, and letting others take it away. It was a waste of the sword. But it wasn't easy to snatch the sword from Zabuza. Zabuza's strength was close to Kakashi's level of ninja. Naruto shook his head. He threw this unrealistic thought out of his mind. Naruto. What is the material used to increase chakra's circulation rate? Is it related to chakra's nature change? The middle-aged man nodded. Those are things that only jonins can use. They increase the transmission speed of the special chakra in weapons. You're still far from it. Naruto shrugged. By the way, give me another piece of chakra paper. When he came here yesterday, he didn't buy chakra's test paper because it was a little expensive. If he bought it, he wouldn't be able to buy 5 detonating talismans. In order to deal with Kakashi, Naruto borrowed money from Sasuke to buy 5 detonation talismans. Now he had used 3 of them, and only had 2 left in his pocket. Uncle. 1 piece of chakra test paper, 500 taels. 10% off for Genin. Just give me 450 taels. Naruto took one. Hinata. What is a chakra test strip? Naruto. It's to test chakra's attributes. You haven't used it before? Hinata shook her head. Well, the Hyuga clan must have dedicated their life to the spirit of martial arts. Naruto. Uncle, give me another one. Uncle. Little girl, are you from the Hyuga clan? Very few people from the Hyuga clan use this. Naruto. Who cares, take one and play with it. Heroic. The uncle didn't say anything and handed over one. Hinata was about to refuse. Naruto. Try it later. This is nothing compared to the copy scroll you gave me. Don't worry about it. Hinata. Okay then. In fact, Hinata was also curious. As for why Naruto wasted money to buy a piece of chakra test strip when Ninetales told him about chakra's attributes. There were some reasons for his distrust, and he was also curious about this kind of test strip that could test chakra. Then Naruto continued to talk about materials with the uncle. Naruto. How much does the material to increase the circulation rate of additional attributes cost? The uncle didn't expect Naruto to buy it, so he explained. It depends on chakra's attributes. The price varies according to the attributes, but generally wind, thunder, and fire attributes are the most common for sword-type weapons. Wind attributes are the most used, and the material consumption is relatively large. The price is also the most expensive, generally around 100,000 taels per gram. Naruto. 100,000 taels per gram? How much does it cost to make a sword? Uncle. Nonsense. Do you think a sword is made of this kind of material? Not only would it be meaningless, it wouldn't increase the sword's power by much. Just like steel, that kind of material can be added in small amounts. Naruto. Oh, I see. You scared me. Uncle. Next is the thunder attribute. The price is slightly cheaper, between 80,000 to 100,000 taels per gram. The price varies according to the mines produced in different regions. Fire attributes are the cheapest, between 50,000 to 70,000 taels per gram. Naruto nodded. He had already made a decision in his heart. After he mastered Chakra's attribute change, he would also make a sword like this. Why don't I use the chakra test strip now? At the same time, I can also have an estimate in my heart. Thinking of this, Naruto directly used the chakra test strip in his hand. Naruto. Wait, let me see what attribute I have. Chakra inserted the test strip, and Chakra's test strip was cut from the middle. It was the wind attribute. Uncle watched from the side. The wind attribute is not bad, quite suitable for a sword, but it will be very difficult to save money for equipment in the future. Naruto. Wind attribute. It seems that Nine Tails didn't lie to him. Coupled with Nine Tails saying that Chakra's attribute came from the soul, it could be deduced that his original soul did indeed have no attribute. Hinata inserted chakra into the test strip, and then the test strip was ignited. Naruto explained. This proves that Hinata is the fire attribute chakra. Hinata's eyes widened, feeling that it was very interesting. Uncle interrupted. Don't lead the little girl into a ditch. As far as I know, although the Hyuga clan can also practice different attributes, no one does so. It should be related to the taijutsu they practice. Only those who haven't opened the Byakugan will choose to practice Chakra's attribute change. Listening to the uncle's tone, he knows Hinata? Well, it's not surprising, after all, he sells ninja items. Presumably, this uncle knows more or less about the various clans. But if he even knows Hinata, then he must know about me, a demon fox. Even so, the uncle didn't give him any face. For a moment, Naruto had a good impression of this uncle. In fact, Naruto didn't know that the uncle had just moved here not long ago, and wasn't from this village at all. Funny. Naruto learned this later. Naruto. Chakra's attribute cultivation is not that simple, just try it out. Don't be so serious. Uncle. How about this? If you trust me, I'll choose the steel for you according to the price. The uncle actually saw that this kid didn't know anything at all, which meant that it was useless to ask. It was better to follow his mood. Naruto. Okay, then I'll leave it to you. Uncle. By the way, since you need to use a sword, do you have a fixed style? If you do, it's best to tell me. Different styles of swords have different shapes and lengths. Of course, if you don't have one, then it doesn't matter. Naruto. There's such a thing. What does the wood leaf sword style, Dance of the Three Suns and Moon suit? The uncle was slightly surprised. So it's this style. That's right, this is the wood leaf sword style. I remember that Moonlight Rush in the village seems to use this technique. You and him? After all, he was from a swordsmithing family, so he had some knowledge in this area. Naruto shook his head. We don't have any contact at the moment, but if we don't know in the future, I'll go and ask him if he can teach me. The uncle opened his mouth in a daze. Forget it, I asked too much. Well, the wood leaf sword style doesn't have any special requirements for swords. You can make your own requirements. Naruto thought of Sasuke's Kusanagi sword. Then I want a straight, very straight sword, and it doesn't need a sword guard. The hilt can be used with both hands. The uncle nodded. Okay, it will take about a month to make. You can come and pick it up after a month. Is there anything else you want? Naruto's gaze fell on the weights. What kind of sword should he buy? Chapter 20. Naruto chose a full set of weights. It included a vest that could be filled with heavy metal blocks, and a pair of strip-type weight-bearing pants that could be connected to the vest to hold the metal blocks. As for the metal blocks engraved with roots, one size was 2 fingers wide, 8 centimeters long, and 1 centimeter thick. According to the boss, there was a special seal on the metal blocks. As the amount of chakra increased, the weight of the metal blocks would increase. The initial weight was 1 kilogram, and the limit of chakra increased to 50 kilograms. The vest could be filled with 6 pieces, for a total of 12 pieces. The total weight was 12 kilograms to 600 kilograms. The legs could be filled with 4 pieces, for a total of 8 pieces. The total weight was 8 kilograms to 400 kilograms. The wrist guards could be filled with 2 pieces, for a total weight of 4 kilograms to 200 kilograms. The body weight was 24 kilograms to 1,200 kilograms. In other words, when Naruto could adapt to 50% of the load, the gravity would increase to the maximum. At that time, he would be able to open the first gate of the Hashiman Tanku. The total weight would probably be enough to support Naruto until he opened the first 3 gates. Of course, the price of this set was not cheap. The root metal blocks were 1,000 taels per piece, and 2,000 taels per piece. The total was 48,000 taels. The equipment filled with metal blocks was 3 times more expensive, for a total of 144,000 taels. In the boss's words, the vest also had a certain amount of armor value. Total, 192,000 taels, minus the 10% discount for the genin, 172,800 taels. It was worth mentioning that the so-called 10% discount meant that the 10% was paid by the Woodleaf Company. It was a ninja's benefit. Genin 10% discount, Chunin 30% discount, and Jonin 50% discount. Boss, the weight is added little by little. Don't think that you can become fat in one bite, otherwise you will be crushed to death by the weight. Naruto. I know, do I look like an idiot to you? At this point, nearly 600,000 taels had been spent. Then, according to the limit for the genin, Naruto could buy 20 detonation talismans in his name. With Hinata by his side, the two of them bought 40 talismans. A low-level detonation talisman was 100 taels. Naruto bought a middle-grade one, which cost 500 taels each. All of a sudden, he had spent another 4,000 taels of silver. Fortunately, every time the village carried out a mission, they would be equipped with a kunai. Otherwise, there would be no way to spend the money. Next, he bought a storage scroll with a medium storage space of 10 cubic meters. He spent 10,000 taels. Naruto asked, Hinata, is there anything you want to buy? Hinata shook her head. Although she didn't know where Naruto got the money, she didn't think he had much left. Hinata, didn't you buy me a chakra test strip? That's pretty interesting. Naruto rolled his eyes. What kind of gift is that? In the end, Naruto secretly asked the store manager to pack up the underwear that was introduced to him last time. No, the soft armor. Naruto reiterated several times that they should not use the wrong size. Because of her shyness, Hinata didn't say her measurements. The store manager's movements were extremely nimble. While Hinata was looking at other small objects, he took advantage of the opportunity. He whispered, "Don't worry about my eyes." As he spoke, he looked at Hinata's upper body and made a measuring gesture with his hand. Don't worry. Naruto suddenly wanted to beat this uncle up. So far, Naruto had spent a total of 1,273,000 taels of silver. After deducting the 10% discount, it was 1,267,000 taels of silver. Well, he could be considered a small rich customer. For this, the store manager also gave Naruto a membership card. The membership card didn't give discounts, but it allowed him to experience high-quality service. The uncle said that in 2 months, he would invite 2 beautiful girls to help him run the store. It seemed to be crooked again. The two left the ninja store, and then went to the clothing store. Naruto bought several sets of new clothes with different styles and gave Hinata 2 sets. In response, Hinata shyly accepted it. At the same time, he asked the shop assistant and tricked Hinata into revealing her measurements. Cough cough. Naruto said that he didn't have any bad intentions. He just wanted to make it more convenient for Hinata when he bought equipment in the future. The next place they went to was interesting. For example, the bedding store. Naruto only bought a new quilt, pillows, sheets, and so on. Then there was the kitchen utensils. From cooking utensils to pots and pans, Naruto bought everything. With these, he could cook by himself in the future. While buying these things, the two of them also received a lot of strange gazes, because these things were usually bought by adults. However, the two were happy. They felt as if they were really going to build a new home. After a busy night, a strange scene appeared on Woodleaf Snack Street. Naruto and Hinata ate tricolored meatballs while looking for various snacks. Behind them was a group of Naruto's clones carrying various things. The sun set in the west and night fell. It was time for the two to part. Hinata asked, "Don't you need me to help you clean up your house?" Naruto said, "With my clones here, I can do it myself." Hinata said, "Then, I'm leaving?" Naruto said, "Yes, wait. I have a gift for you." Naruto handed the wrapped box to Hinata. Hinata took it. It was very light. "What's inside?" Naruto scratched his head. "It's a small gift. You'll know when you open it." Hinata asked, "Is it very expensive?" Naruto said, No. Hinata said, "Then I'll accept it. Naruto-kun, see you tomorrow." Naruto said, "See you tomorrow." At the same time, the uncle was about to close the door when he opened a gift box. He just subconsciously checked the contents of the box. He was going to send this gift box to his daughter. But when he opened it, the uncle said, "Ha! Isn't this the tank top? Wait. Oh no. I packed it in the wrong box." The box contained limited edition underwear that our daughter bought. It's the cute kind with a bra and underwear. The reason why it was mailed to him was because our daughter was going to come to his place this month, so we wrote the order address at his place. But the plan changed to next month, so our daughter asked him to mail the clothes to his wife. What should I do? The uncle packed the gift box as fast as he could. Then he ran to Naruto's place as fast as he could. It turned out that he did know who Naruto was, and he even knew where he lived. At the same time, the uncle was extremely fast. It was obvious that the uncle wasn't an ordinary person. Waving Hinata off, Naruto's heart was full of happiness. As for inviting Hinata to his house, that would have to wait until he cleaned up his kennel. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing. When he returned home, he saw that the uncle from the ninja shop was actually at his door. Naruto said, "Huh? Uncle, I don't think I have anything to deliver to your door, right?" The uncle said, "You're finally back. Did you give the gift?" Naruto said, "I did." "Why?" The uncle said, It's nothing. I just want to investigate. Is she satisfied?" Naruto said, "Well, I don't know. I told her to take it home and open it." There was still hope. The uncle said, "Oh, did you just leave?" Naruto said, "Well, not long. About 5 or 6 minutes." The uncle said, "Oh, then I'll leave first." Naruto watched the uncle leave. This uncle was really enthusiastic. But he didn't think too much about it. That night was a sleepless night for Naruto's clone. The whole house, which was 60 square meters, was cleaned. Then all kinds of things were rearranged. The trash was taken out, and the trash was thrown out. On the other hand, Naruto's main body took a comfortable hot bath. Then he tried out the new weight equipment he bought. From tomorrow onwards, he would be inseparable from these iron lumps. Then he watched the clone finish his work. The moment the clone was released, the house looked brand new. At the same time, the accumulated fatigue was transferred to the main body. Naruto fell asleep comfortably on the bed due to exhaustion and sleepiness. As for the store manager, he finally managed to sneak into the Hyuga family's house and successfully exchanged the 2 gift boxes. But when he returned to the shop, he found that the box was opened, and the things inside had long disappeared. Patter. The box fell to the ground. The uncle's face was filled with despair. What have I done all day? And how was he going to explain to his daughter? Headache. Should he find the little girl and ask for the underwear back? What if the little girl has already worn it? Despair. For the next month, Naruto spent his time accepting various D-class assignments and training. For example, finding a lost cat or dog, helping a noble couple take care of their baby, tracking targets, investigating the situation, and all kinds of small tasks. Naruto had his own training, such as weight, so this kind of easy task was suitable for him. Hinata was not in a hurry because of her temperament. However, Sasuke's brows were tion. Later, after Kakashi reported to Naruto that the team could accept higher-level tasks, a C-level task was arranged. Escort Tazuna to the Wave Country to build the bridge. This seemingly C-level task was actually a B-level task, almost an A-level task. Their enemy was the traitor of the Mist Village, the only descendant of the Snow Clan, the owner of the ice release Kekkei Genkai, Haku. The moment he heard the news, Naruto was practicing walking on the water by the lake. Then with a splash, he fell directly into the water. Although his whole body didn't fall in, but his trousers were wet. Hinata. Naruto-kun. Naruto took a deep breath. In the end, he still couldn't escape? Naruto, I'm fine. Sasuke. Hinata. Sasuke and Kakashi-sensei are together. Kakashi-sensei asked me to call you and prepare to leave today. Naruto frowned. Naruto, do you wear the soft armor I gave you? Hinata, yes. Naruto, then accompany me to get the sword, and then meet with Kakashi-sensei. Chapter 21. Naruto and Hinata gathered with Kakashi. Tazner glanced at Naruto and muttered, still a brat, and a short winter melon. Tazner, an old man with a bag on his back and a wine bottle in his hand. He looked very arrogant. But in fact, the wine was to hide the fear in his heart. He was afraid that his secret would be exposed, so he issued a C-level mission from an A-level mission. Only he could think of such a thing. Naruto stared at Tazner's eyes. Because he was unhappy, his voice became cold. Who are you calling a short winter melon? Being stared at by these eyes, Tazner's heart jumped. Those eyes were full of ridicule and disdain. And there was a trace of hesitation. It was as if a person who knew his secret was hesitating whether to tell it or not. Tazner was nervous and comforted himself. It was just a brat. Most likely he was too nervous and thought too much. And Naruto was indeed hesitating. The mission of the Wave Country involved an underground force led by Gato. Because of the inconvenient transportation in the Wave Country, that force monopolized the water transportation and crazily raised the price of ships to exploit the civilians of the Wave Country. And Tazner wanted to build a bridge to the outside world for the Wave Country to avoid Gato's exploitation. In a sense, Tazner could be considered a hero. It was admirable. Whether it was courage or thinking, he was outstanding. But the key to the matter was, among Gato's subordinates, there were two ninjas at the Jounin level, Ghost Zabuza and Haku, who had the special ice release Kekkei Genkai of the Snow Clan. Ninetail's voice sounded in his ear. Brat, I feel the smell of fear in your soul. I'm curious what makes a little madman like you who uses clones as human bombs afraid. Naruto. Of course I'm afraid, because I'm afraid of death. Ninetails. Oh, didn't that girl say that it was just a C-level mission? Naruto. Just take it as my hunch. Teacher Nine Llamas, let's make a deal. If there's a danger that I can't deal with, can I lend you some chakra? Ninetails' words were laced with sarcasm. Sure, but I'll be the one to decide the timing. No matter what, you still call me a teacher, so I have to be more responsible as a teacher. Otherwise, how are you going to grow if you rely on me for everything? Right? Sasuke. Naruto, why are you carrying a sword? Do you know how to use a sword? Sasuke had already experienced Naruto's fighting style. There was no order at all. He didn't look like someone who had undergone systematic training. So when he saw Naruto carrying a sword on his back, he couldn't help but be curious. Naruto was currently 1.5 meters tall. The sword was 1 meter long, the hilt was 38.2 centimeters long, and the blade was 61.8 centimeters long. In Naruto's words, the hilt was a little long. But the store manager told him that the hilt was easier to grasp. As for the truth, the store manager wouldn't tell him that it was because he accidentally damaged it. Of course, the swords in this world were single-edged. As for the scabbard and blade, according to Naruto's request, they were in a matte camouflage color to facilitate concealment. Naruto. I didn't know it in the past, so I learned it now. Otherwise, wouldn't the wood-leaf swordsmanship in my head be wasted? With Sasuke's interruption, Naruto's gaze also shifted away from Tazner. Tazner pretended as if nothing had happened, and took a sip of wine. Kakashi, since everyone is here, let's set off. Set off just like that? It felt like he was about to embark on a path of no return. Naruto took a deep breath and calmed himself down. If he was too timid to fight Zabuza, what would he do if he faced someone stronger in the future? So he couldn't avoid it. There was no safe place in this world to begin with. He couldn't place his hopes on himself after he became strong, but he had to survive tenaciously when he was weak. So with all kinds of feelings, everyone left the wood leaf. Today was a sunny day. Kakashi. Don't be too nervous. A sea-level mission won't encounter ninjas. Just take this mission as a break. But no one pandered to him. Naruto. Kakashi-sensei, do you have a detonation talisman on you? Kakashi's eyebrows twitched at the mention of the detonation talisman. He still remembered how Naruto used the detonation talisman in the previous assessment. Kakashi. What are you doing, kid? I already said that you're not allowed to use the detonation talisman like that. Naruto. Just in case, hee. Kakashi. No. Would a Jonin have a few detonation talismans on him? Sasuke enthusiastically took out 2. Naruto took them and put them on him, feeling comfortable all over. Kakashi. Sasuke. Sasuke. I saw that he was uneasy all over. Now that I gave them to him, he seems to be a lot better. Would someone calm down because of a detonation talisman? Kakashi looked at Naruto, and what made him speechless was that Naruto really did calm down. Kakashi. Multiple shadow clone is a forbidden technique. The main reason is not only because it consumes a lot of chakra, but also because after the clone is hit by a heavy blow, it will also bring pain to the main body, so don't be fooled by his cool self-detonation. What he meant was that they shouldn't encourage Naruto's suicidal arrogance. This was the first time Sasuke and Hinata had heard of this, and they were a little worried about Naruto. Naruto shrugged. It's just less than half of the pain. It's not as scary as they say. Half of the pain? Half of the pain of being blown to pieces? It wouldn't be easy just thinking about it. Sasuke shook his head, and Hinata was even more worried. She wanted to say something but hesitated. Kakashi. Also, the detonation talisman needs a special explosion-proof scroll, or a scroll without chakra's seal. Otherwise it might be accidentally triggered by chakra and blown to pieces. Of course, the only exception is if you have the money to buy the special detonation talisman. The safety factor of the detonation talisman is higher, and it can be used in a specific detonation technique. But because the power of the detonation talisman is stronger, it seems that only Chunin can use it. If you buy it outside, the price will double. Naruto. It's okay, I have an explosion-proof scroll. As he spoke, Naruto took out a red scroll from his head. Kakashi's eyelids twitched. How many detonation talismans are there? Naruto. Huh? What did you say? Then, seeing that Kakashi wanted to snatch the scroll, Naruto directly used multiple shadows. The 3 Naruto stood together. It was as if they were asking to guess which one was the real one. Kakashi. Forget it, you take care. The clone was removed. Kakashi instantly appeared behind Naruto and snatched the scroll from Naruto's hand. Naruto. Damn. You cheated. Kakashi. As the captain, I can't watch you die. Kakashi was about to put the scroll into his pocket. Ha. This touch. He looked back at Naruto and his eyelids twitched. Is this a clone? Naruto. What did you say? I don't seem to understand. Kakashi's fist smashed down. Bang. The clone was removed. At the same time, the scroll in Kakashi's hand also disappeared. Everyone was speechless. That you're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.